go. Live action. If you like what you hear and you want to see this, we actually video these things for why, I don't know. Nobody watches them, but I don't care. It's there for just archival purposes, right?
Well, we haven't said anything about it. And we've been building a little bit of a Winners Take Y'all YouTube page. So
Yeah.
search it up and subscribe. The time when we quit putting it on YouTube, we got a lot of people going, where the heck is the YouTube feed?
Right.
So
Check it out.
we do it, and sometimes if you stick with it long enough, you will see something absolutely
Ridiculous.
the dumbest thing you've ever seen in your life.
Normally, you just get to see a lot of Kevin's feet.
Yeah, like the time we're filling up fireball shots, so we just pour it on Kevin's feet.
That's cool.
And then the other time we put the water, he had his foot under the faucet, so I just floor the faucet and soak his feet. You
You would never know it if you were just listening.
Yeah.
Because we're such
You
pros.
see Kevin's bare naked feet.
We're so
If you're
slick.
into that, if that's your deal, we
that's
got you
your
covered.
deal.
Kevin
That's right.
doesn't care if he gets fireball poured on his feet.
It's the
and
only
ants.
place that you can see Kevin's feet for free.
Yeah, otherwise
Yes.
you got to charge.
You got to pay top
Otherwise,
dollar.
you have to go to that OnlyFans and pay for Kevin's feet.
Farmersfeet.com.
Bunions.
KevinKellisFeet.com.
Welcome. It's
Gross.
Bunyan, worldofbunions.com.
Worldwide. Well, welcome to Winners Take Y'all. That's Big Nick Energy. Big Nick Energy. We got all the Big Nick Energy sweatshirts on. They were given
Yep.
to us by Big Nick's wife, Stephanie.
Almost Christmas time, so we
That's right.
we had to really show our spirit here.
Yeah, man.
And we do love some Big Nick energy.
Yes.
I always feel it, man. We had
Yeah.
dinner. I had Big Nick Energy the whole time.
Yeah,
I
he's-
couldn't even walk when I got done out of there.
Well, after the show last week, Nick, when we were kissing,
Yeah.
there was a
Not a joke.
there was
Your
a long
second man you've kissed in a calendar year. Like,
in one calendar year. And hey, I felt bad about the first one. Like I told y'all, I got back to the hotel there.
at least your wife saw it, so
Yeah.
she can't argue about this one.
No, she was there, and she loved me and
Every
Nick
second of
just
it.
kissing. You know,
This mistletoe does it to you. It's that time of year, man.
she goes, "Oh, there's mistletoe. Y'all want to kiss?" And freaking Blackman,
Hell yeah.
he does not hesitate on anything in life.
Yes.
I'm like wrapped up in this warm embrace. All of a sudden, I'm like, "What is happening to me?"
We're kissing.
I'm full of love. That's it.
Yeah, man.
I'm
Shit.
full of love. I even had somebody, I had a listener that you called
He kissed me on the cheek though before you let that one slide too far. Yeah, go ahead.
One of our fabulous, faithful listeners at Chicani this weekend tell me he loves me just because he watches the show.
See, that's cool.
It's catching on. That's right.
Nick is fearless. He'll tell anyone on the show at the end at a very awkward moment when it's quiet and you know they heard it and they're like, yeah, cool. And then
And they hang on up. They're not playing that game.
we had Barry Higgins on last week. That was so much fun. He was
Barry said, I said, I love you, Barry. He goes, uh-huh.
yeah.
Now, we didn't video last week, and that
No.
was mostly because of Barry. He wasn't even comfortable with all these electronics. Like, he wanted us to do the telegraph
Right.
or Morse code or whatever
Yeah.
it is where you do the show and you say,
Barry,
hey,
we-
Barry, stop.
Yeah, we want to talk to you about your career. Stop.
Do you think anyone listening to Barry Higgins, though, how did that go? Because I could feel the Big Nick energy amongst y'all. Because Nick was like, this is the baddest stuff
It was
I've ever-"
great. It was good,
He's
man.
telling really good stuff, and we're just scratching the surface with him.
Oh, yeah. We got to have more.
And anytime you just, it doesn't have to be moto. That's why I think our interviews are different than most because we'll just go wherever this thing leads us. We don't prepare. And I know you're probably going, wow, really? You
What?
don't prepare? No, but I don't do that on purpose because like we have Shane McElrath. Like we're going to go down 30 minutes of bad road with him and we'll just see where it leads us. And I have no problem with it. And I know there's a place for that preparation and maybe one day we will prep in certain regards, but I don't think it hurts us because we would have never gotten to Barry building a house at age 12. Here's a car. If you can rebuild the motor, you get it. Like if we just stayed on the motocross path,
Yeah,
we
we'd
got
never
good
heard
shit, but dude, it kind of helps
His
you
dad's like,
understand.
you want to learn how to drive? I got a 37 Dodge, needs a motor rebuilt.
If you can do
it's-
that, I love it. I love it.
Another thing that stood out with him, it was crazy. His dad was on the bus being drafted, going to Fort Dix. I mean, he may have never came back from that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he was going overseas for World War II.
comes back and they're all like, what the hell's going
Yeah,
on?
and the guy gets on the bus. Harry Higgins.
How they stop that? Like they get this paper to the bus stop before this man leaves at 2:30. Like there's a lot of shit that had to happen.
There was a whole movie called Saving Harry Higgins.
And it didn't. It stopped. Saving Harry Higgins. Well, they didn't have to go to Europe to do it.
And that was before the tank drivers had haircuts like Nick.
Like Nick.
Yes.
Nick could have been in that movie.
He could have been in Saving Harry Higgins.
I was the guy that ran up on the bus with my tank driver haircut. It was like,
Harry Higgins.
Harry Higgins, you're off the bus. You're a machinist.
What?
And
You know what?
that's-
There had to be some form of relief. And I understand every man wanted to go fight, and I'm sure he
Yes.
was whatever, but
His mother was relieved.
His mother was relieved. Yeah,
for sure.
That's
crazy.
pretty
Crazy
gnarly.
story, man.
I know a guy.
So we have Shane McElrath, by the way, for tonight's show. Just go ahead and get into your story, Nick.
I know a guy that got drafted for Vietnam. Like they pulled his birthday,
My dad got drafted.
and he was going on his way, like the I don't know, what do you call it, the draft center, wherever the hell you go to get
Up our check-in.
get your physical. Yeah,
Come on over here.
get checked in and sent off.
Haircuts over our glasses right here.
Drop your clothes.
Him and his brother was taking him, and his brother had like a '67 Chevelle. They're going through downtown Atlanta. Somebody runs a red light and just crushes into the side of him, and jacked him up and couldn't
And
go.
he's injured.
Dang.
Wasn't he?
So he's
My dad was like 2 semesters away from getting his teaching degree. So they're like, you're close. I don't know why. They said, you're good. You can stay here. Like, they had guys that were in their prime pitching, like Roger Maris and all, whoever these guys were. That,
Heck, they probably deemed it like a
Muhammad Ali.
necessary job
Maybe.
or a non-essential.
Maybe, I
Whatever.
don't know.
Whatever word you want to use.
he was going,
Teacher's
but-
pretty essential.
but then he didn't have to go.
But, however, if they had taken him, think of the youth that would have just been, ruined by not having King Kelly's teaching style.
Right? Who knows?
I couldn't. I still.
He'd have
I
probably
never
opened the
pictured
greatest
him
track ever in fucking career or wherever he would have went.
in racing scooters and stuff. All right, at the grocery class, everybody that's going to get groceries, y'all line up.
My he was from Somerville, Georgia, up where Jared's place
Yeah.
is. And he said that every night somebody would jump off the train in Somerville from like it was on their
I
way to
bet.
getting drafted or whatever.
Oh,
they were
really?
getting sent to Korea.
That was right out of Cartersville. I guarantee
and
it's
he
coming
said-
right up that way.
Yep, he said every night you'd hear like people's dogs barking because somebody's jumping off the train, running through town.
Going
Like,
AWOL.
for whatever reason, that was a good place to get off, and they got the hell off right there. Like,
Probably a known thing. Look, man, Somerville, you're still close enough. You can get a ride.
yeah. So
That's
people-
nuts.
That
I
is
never thought
wild.
of that.
They go AWOL right there because they'll be riding the train and take off.
Well,
Well, you guys went AWOL. Y'all went riding dirt bikes this weekend at Ichikani.
Ichikani MX.
Best
Matt
dirt.
Walker's
Best.
place.
That's the best place in Georgia to go ride a dirt bike.
I think so.
Fair enough, right?
Well, it's good. There's no doubt. And
No crazy jumps. The sand's awesome. You just let it eat down there. Anytime they open up, it's high quality. Practice is good.
It's prepped just like it was prepped for a
Regional or-
regional, Loretta Lynn's regional. It's just a beautiful track. I mean, it just looks good, flows good, you feel good.
it's
right
not
there.
scary. I mean, you can get out of whack from all the bumps because it does really get beat up. But
Yeah, the scariest thing happens usually at a relatively low speed, like changing line from one place to the other,
Whoop.
and you just
hook
like the-
some square something.
well, how'd y'all do? Like
Kicker.
you told me, and Kyle agreed. Like Kyle even said that's the best he's ever seen Nick ride. Like this dude's like stepping
Nick
it
found
up.
another
He's
level, and
leveling
I don't
up.
know why or what, because that's the second time I've ridden a motorcycle since August. I just haven't been riding. I was pretty burnt at the end of the year, and undoubtedly Nick has been putting the damn
He don't
heat.
stop,
He's
dude.
turned the heat up and been putting in the laps or something. Because I'll
that
tell
track
you one
agrees
thing.
with him?
I'll tell you one thing. I never knew how deeply motivated Nick was to really try to beat Buddy. We rolled out on the track, and Buddy was about 5 riders ahead of us. And Nick
By design, I guarantee you.
Nick
This is
freaking takes the
and listen,
throttle.
everybody, you all have that guy. There's everybody in your head. You know there are 1 or 2 guys.
There's somebody you don't like.
and you and not maybe not even like, but it's your deal. You have to beat
You
this
gotta
guy,
beat
or
him,
that's
yeah.
the guy you're going to battle with.
Well, so Nick just rolls on the throttle hard, and I'm like,
Damn, son.
okay, here we
we
go.
go.
So I get on the gas too, and I'm like, God dang, what is he doing? Like, he's actually kicking it right here. And so he really wicked it up. Like, that's the fastest I've ever seen you go.
That's probably the fastest I've ever been.
Did it feel like all right?
No,
No.
it felt like I was going slow.
It did not feel like he was going fast, which is proof
that's
when you're
good.
doing it right. And McElrath can probably speak to this. The days he's won the best races, and correct me if I'm wrong, did he not battle the crap out of Chase Sexton for
Yeah,
that title
in the COVID year,
and like
Utah,
wax Chase
and
him?
just barely lost that title.
Yeah, just barely lost
Yeah.
it. And I guarantee you there were days where he was like, "That was easy." That's how Nick was riding.
I think that's the fastest I've ever gone, and it was felt like the slowest I'd ever gone.
That's crazy.
Now, Nick had kind of decided, like, I'm going to start running a gear high everywhere, and which makes you carry corner speed and stuff like that. So maybe that is one of the factors, not shifting as much and just pulling that next gear all the time. But, I would say you're jumping things that you wouldn't jump before.
Carry more speed
You're
towards it.
definitely cornering fast because...
Well, one thing, and John told me to run a gear higher. So when you I probably went around that whole track in fourth gear. So
that's a pretty tall gear for Edgecone in that deep sand coming out of some of those turns.
Just let it bog and let it go. But what that forces you to do is roll through the corners.
Because you don't want to lose all that speed and be in fourth gear.
Like
right.
It'll bog hard.
I'm only going to be in fourth and fifth gear. I'm not going to downshift. So you have to carry.
God, all I have is a recollection of riding that on a 125 where you're like,
Yeah.
I can't imagine what. I haven't ridden a modern four-stroke in forever.
They make you lazy. They rob. So Donnie Banks was down there, and he was on a YZ250, and I can't remember what he said he's going to race. Some race he's going to do. He's like, I got to get polished up on a two-stroke again, and so he's riding a YZ250 two-stroke. But he was talking about the amount of work it takes to go fast because four-stroke just makes you lazy. I mean, when could we ever say, just leave it in fourth?
Just cruise.
You
One
can't.
Gear. It's automatic.
You can't.
I don't know if on my CR250 if I would have gotten into fourth gear.
Yeah, I believe that.
All right, next time you go, you have to bring 2 or 3 bikes, and we got to get some lap times. Give me your best, and let's be scientific about this. See how that XR stacks up. That'd be fun as shit.
Jesus.
Yeah. And you can do that at Edgecone.
You can. You got multiple chances to ride. That'd be fun to do. You'd be a great person.
I'd like to be the
test
stopwatch guy on that.
I'll do it.
I'll run the
Give
stopwatch.
me a four-wheeler. I'll fucking do it.
Yeah.
Donnie's got one of those.
Ride the
three-wheelers.
water truck one lap.
Yeah. Why not?
Hey,
Whatever.
Donnie did have a Stark down there.
Yeah.
And David Brewer was on it. And so, and he's fast. He goes fast. And so he goes, hey, you can ride this afterwards. And I'm thinking, man, I don't want to ride that thing. It's got a handbrake. Like, I know they're fun, but I'll tell you
hand
this.
stake?
Had a hand stake, and
it
all the
cooks.
juice was all over the shrouds.
Can't see.
But no, so I roll out kind of behind him and I just follow the thing for a little while. And he's not going that fast. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. I can sort of watch because they make when you're on your bike, you can't hear anything, no sounds. But then he decided to go. And so I had passed him and I'm riding. I kind of forgot he was even back there, And he passed me coming out of a left-hand turn with a long straightaway, a straightaway that's probably 1,000 foot long. And he passed me as if it was some kind of sci-fi movie and was gone with no sound. And he put 150 or more feet on me in 1,000 feet. And
I don't know,
I'm
man.
like,
how
so
fast do we need to go at this point?
I know, but
I don't
so
understand.
fast that I'm like, well, I'm going to let off and watch this because he's going over that berm down. There's no way he'll stop. And he got it stopped. But god dang, I guarantee you, like if what do you think? 50 was like our top speed on the track out there. Maybe
71 on
I'm
that
thinking
bike?
he's 20 miles an hour faster, right?
He passed me on that thing. Like he came that right after the starting line where you go up, you make the right-hand turn, then turn back up at the top.
Yeah.
And it was a short straightaway. And he passed me in the corner in that short straightaway. It just looked weird. He accelerated so fast.
That's how it felt. It felt like hyper speed or something.
It did not look right. Like he just shot out like a damn
I've seen them
watermelon
drag
seed.
race. Like they've lined up side by side. I've seen and it's 5 bike lengths in a.
Well, that's
start
how it was.
straight.
He pulled me by bike link after
I think
bike
it
link.
looked closer in a drag race than it does coming out of a corner. Coming out of a corner, that damn thing looked
Well, I don't think it spins as much. I think the power's so linear, and it's mostly a torque rather than a horsepower
it
thing.
just went like it was like
It doesn't throw a ton of dirt.
like it
So
damn-
what is the end gain here? Like where does that equal fun
Well, they've
and
got to
safety
make.
and
I don't know, but they've got to make a sound as far as safety. They've got to. The bike has to make a sound because his main thing was, dude, people have cut me off today. They have no clue I'm there,
of course.
and he's coming at them with 15 miles an hour extra.
So if we're all on Starks, how's that work? Are we all just hey, I'm on your left. Like, how does that
I
even
think you
work?
start saying on your left, on your
like
right.
a mountain
Mountain
bike.
biking?
Yeah, on your left.
I don't know, man.
Here's the issue too.
I'm such an old. I sound
Like,
so old school.
The
But
problem is they're so damn fast. Well, that's so cool right now. But when everybody's got one,
then what?
Then
That's
the
what-
human body's
that's what
just
I'm saying.
more destroyed.
Right. Then we're getting hurt at
now
72.
we're really destroying.
I mean,
the thing.
450s are too fast.
Fuck
We've
yeah, they are.
obviously established that.
We have because
Right.
we're both happy on a 350.
Yes.
And
Right.
I probably would do a 250 if I weighed the right weight.
Yeah.
But weighing 210, it's like that is hardcore coming out of a turn.
Like
if
on
you got
that
to jump
350,
something.
like I said, I carried fourth gear around that whole
That
track.
always blows me away on a 350. So you wouldn't think with 100 cc's less you would have enough torque to pull that higher gear. Those things have this. They feel like the same torque as a 450.
They just
and
a
if
little
you
bit
floor
off
it-
on the hyper speed. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like if you just over.
But if you floor it all the way, it's still a whole lot of motorcycle.
Oh, yeah,
It's not a
ton.
450. It doesn't flip over backwards.
Yeah, we're not. I mean, if you're Shane McElrath, then you're going to notice.
You're
the difference. But if you're
irritated,
just the
yeah.
average guy, Jesus, man,
350 is perfect. I mean, I love it. It's a little.
I'm
less
with you, Nick, and I know we've talked about this a few times. Like the general public, I do not have any business hopping in a McLaren and just hitting the old racetrack. Like I don't. I mean, I don't know
guys
how
mind
you
if I
regulate
spin a
that.
lap here?
And it'll never happen like that. But like, I just would love to see the sport hang around and dudes not get hurt. And
Well,
I
the
just-
problem is there's no entry level bike cost wise, right? When
You jump right in,
you
you're
go
buying
buy
a-
a bike. You go buy a Formula One car.
You do.
I mean, it is a
Rocket ship.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, Eli could get on your bike and top 10 a race.
Yeah.
That's like a
Supercross.
freaking
He really could.
like a Formula One car. I mean, it's and we would die in a Formula One car. We probably couldn't even make a lap.
And just think about in terms of automobile racing, the different levels of just slow dirt track. I mean, those little dirt tracks that you go there, you're doing 100 at most.
Oh,
And they
like
look-
that's
they-
their top, maybe 80
yeah.
on some of
And they
these.
look- and it looks. Those guys are into it. It's fun.
They're
It's
gassing it, they're
competitive.
sliding, and
the
all
race,
that.
the racing's awesome.
Like a pony class, or whatever. It was 4 cylinders. Those guys probably aren't doing 60.
Right.
And the
just
girls always
had a
wear
blast.
white pants to these events.
Yeah.
So
I'm-
they get their stains on the red
Yes.
clay.
Should know better than that.
But you're right, Nick. I mean, I had a mechanic that he would buy. They had a certain chassis. So you buy that chassis, and
Spec chassis,
dudes
yep.
would wear them out, and you could buy a used one.
Yeah.
And then you had a certain, it was a Honda 4-cylinder that was, so these dudes would look for Hondas that were hitting the rear. They'd take that Honda 4-cylinder and trans and put it in this chassis. And it had a set way you did it, and that was the class.
And like in those classes, you could probably go car racing right now for $2,000.
I think that's kind of the deal because he would buy the car from Copart,
Yeah.
rear-ended hard, so you bid on it, get the car, get it to you, and then he did all the labor himself swapping it out. And you got a fuel cell with a shutoff, just like a real race car would have. But that was about it.
But now in motocross, you're forced to buy a Formula One car, and it's going to cost you $10,000 to go racing.
Yeah.
If you get a deal on your bike and then buy all your shit.
Is it just? It's just the way it's always been. You've always bought a YZ250, no matter if it's 79 or
Yeah.
2025. But
now
we've
a
never had that
YZ250F
structure like
is-
all these other sports have had. They've had. I mean, there's multiple.
They've had
from the road,
limiters.
the whole way through.
Yeah,
and
whole
you
way
work
through
your way
limiters.
through, and start and go. I mean, I guess we have. I mean, we have the CBA where I don't know that they
Yeah,
have
but
that.
Nick's point, the F1 car, most people that raced cars, they didn't make it to that.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
absolutely not.
their limiters held them back because they didn't have the skill. The dudes with the skill could get on through and get to the
Yeah.
formula car. But we're over here.
Right.
Go ahead and take the top rung of the ladder here,
And I know
sir.
we sound
you're
like
a beginner.
I don't know what we sound like, but I just want to see the sport thrive and
You
have
want
a
the sport
place
to grow,
Yeah,
right?
and have a place for a guy that's just getting started. And I know there's the 450 beginner, but god dang, 450.
They still get on the start straight. That's probably the most terrifying place.
turning a
a
guy they
450
never
beginner
raced
guy
before. Let him
who
rip.
truly
I'll
thinks
tell you
he
something
could be
else
somebody
that-
one day. And
It's happening in motocross now too, because is like some of these tracks you go to, and I don't jump all the great big shit. There are a lot of these kids that are racing now that are slower than piss through the corners.
Oh, they jump
braking,
shit, and they
all
have no business jumping
But the
shit.
only thing they do is jump all the shit.
They've done that since day one. They had guys that were beginners pretty much, and they could jump the big tabletop at our track.
well,
I'm
and
like,
that was
bro,
the decider. Like, hey, you jumped that. You're
you're
not a
out.
beginner anymore.
Oh yeah, there were certain jumps that we were like, if you jump this, you're not.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to piss people off to where they go, all right, I got to move up because I want to jump the big table, and my
yeah,
girlfriend's
yeah.
going to.
Well, and it helped.
It
helped
did. There were certain
get
jumps
the
you
idiots
were not
out of
allowed
that
to
class.
jump. But I'm like, they have no business jumping it because when it goes sideways, they cannot fix it.
I just don't know what like. It would be awesome if there was. It would take a manufacturer and
A few of them, and the AMA.
they to build a 200-pound air cooled 250cc motorcycle.
That would be the best
That was-
racing ever.
It was $4,000.
Yeah.
You know, 4,500.
Because dudes would be holding it wide open through the turns. Like, it'd be awesome to watch.
Incredible to watch dudes. Like when you watch Carson Brown,
Yeah.
it looks unbelievable. Whatever, like he's on a
And
Harley,
he's really
damn
not
gold
going
wing. No,
that
it don't
fast.
matter. It looks incredible.
But it looks awesome because he's at the bikes limit.
and he's having a blast.
And that used to be what we loved about the 125 class. Just kicking it through those turns with the throttle wide
Spin
open.
wide.
To this day, I saw a clip of Carmichael today on his number 70 Kawasaki, and that bike's going nowhere, and he's just ringing it out. You know what I mean? Just like
He did, yeah. And so speaking about handing the F1 level race machine, the race rocket, to these beginners, some of these tracks are feeling the heat
Yeah.
with injuries and
Yeah, we were talking about that. I called. I've talked to a few people. I talked to Weege and a few other guys about these tracks that are closing because now we have Ponca City just closed. They had an injury.
okay, that I didn't know about.
I think a flagger got hit, and then they had and I'm not. Don't quote me on that. But then Village Creek is closing in Texas. LACR is closing. Elsinore is closed. There's a bunch of tracks that are, and there's I know Bobby White out at the AZ Open has a couple of suits that he's working through right now, and it's just like it's things that, and you guys that are pissed off that they're shutting stuff down like pit bikes and all this other stuff. It's because everything that happens outside of the pits, that's where we're getting sued. Now, granted, the one at LACR happened within the confines of the
happened to be on the
racetrack,
track, yes.
but the other ones are all happening in the pits, side by sides. They're with pit bikes, all this other shit going on. That's why they're going away. No, and contrary to what most people believe, and I just talked to Burkine, and I can speak on this behalf. We just promoted a race that was AMA sanctioned. Nowhere did they tell me we're encouraging you not to have pit bikes. That was a us thing.
That was what you chose.
And so these people, Burkine specifically, I just talked to him. He goes, the misconception is that we're making people not run pit bikes. That's a promoter thing. They're just seeing the writing on the wall. They're wanting to stay open.
Matt Walker even said his claims for the previous year were all in the pits. And he's like, hey, man, it's amazing. My insurance guy comes up and he's looking inside the track thinking everything's happening out there.
It's not.
And then when he realizes the claims are in the parking lot, it's easy to just, from the insurance guy, to say, well, don't let them mini bikes ride in your parking lots,
Correct.
man. And so some of these promoters, they're just doing what it takes to stay insured.
I envision a day where you will push your bike to the main chute to where you go into the track, and then you can crank it up and go from there. Because I was at the AZ Open, and dudes come off that track, and I'm not exaggerating. I guarantee 40% of the public, the riders, went 40 miles an hour. As soon as they got there, just taking off. Half the field.
Yeah, I don't do
There
that.
are little kids running around, and it's just it's so close to being a nightmare
I'm very
scenario.
specific about first gear, and it's been ingrained.
I've
to
always
me.
said if you're going faster than you can walk, if a 4-year-old kid just hops out in front of the bumper of that truck, it's over. You smash that kid, you got a problem. So parents are going to sue you. They're going to sue the track, and everybody then get their hands on it.
I have to say that this weekend we rode 5 15-minute motos, and every time I came off the track, I wheelied back to the truck.
See,
Yeah,
you're
but
that guy.
But Nick is really good
He's
at
good at
wheeling.
wheeling. He's a wheelie boy. He can come right at you and just curve
I
it
always
left and
know
right.
when Nick's sort of he's feeling it a little bit because he'll wheelie. And I pulled in front of him one time, like, damn, what if you just hit me in the side and
Stupid.
flip us over and kill us?
But like real talk, I envision you pushing your bike to that little chute to where the public is separated.
And now it's
then,
competition area.
And then when you're done, there's a guy there going, stop, get off your bike, dismount, and push your bike back.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's the way it was at the Georgia Dome.
yeah, we pushed them all the way into the tunnel.
Yeah.
But I
You
mean,
know-
if that's what keeps the tracks open and these dummies from doing what they do,
Well, in one of the tracks you mentioned, a guy broke in after hours. I will say almost every hardcore motocrosser, they're typically not the guys that would sue. They know the risk when they get on the
Yeah.
bike. Most of them. I'm not saying, I know there's rare.
gross negligence is another thing altogether. Just
Yeah,
if
gross
something crazy happens, you've crashed, whatever. But if I drive my tractor out on the middle of the start and run you down, that's on me. I get that.
But historically, a true hardcore motocrosser is a pretty safe guy. He knows what risk he's taking. It's some of the yahoos like breaking in after a track is closed and riding and getting hurt after hours.
I don't know how that suit even happens.
It
but
doesn't
and
seem
they're-
possible. And
Insurance is crazy. Let me tell you a story. This is like in the 90s. We had a gas station. These girls go in there. There's one toilet or two toilets in the women's restroom.
Where's this going?
4 girls go in there.
Nick went in there with all 4 of them.
Hey, one of them jumps her big ass up on the toilet, the sink, and is pissing in the sink. Well,
Breaks it off the wall.
breaks it off the wall and cuts her. She sues.
On your gas station?
Yeah, we sued.
Man, That's terrible.
Insurance. This is like 94. Insurance paid her like 20 grand.
See, and I would, as the person who holds the policy, I'd be screaming at my insurance guy.
My dad
I know y'all
was
were.
raising hell.
Do not pay this, and that's typically what
Because
has
if you pay
happened
it
in
now, everybody
America.
else is seeing it. They're like, oh, this is easy
Oh,
money.
this
That's
is
Free
how it
money.
starts, right?
Yeah.
And that's, I mean,
And some of the words I'm hearing are like, if it happens in the pits and it's a kid, they're gonna sue you. Like if it's an adult and they crash or adult something happens, it's
That's a culture problem.
it is, man.
it is let me tell you the culture problem with it. And I love motocross, and I love how free it is, and I love a little bit of that the kids can run around and do what they want to.
I do too, to a certain extent.
But like we went to a regional in Florida year before last, and these kids, and if you take offense to this and you got kids, I'm sorry, but these kids were feral. I mean,
Dude.
there were 150 kids on pit bikes.
Bro, I've seen
all
it
day,
at tons
all
of places.
night, riding, zipping around. Like, it's amazing nobody got killed. Not to mention it was annoying as shit, but they, I mean, I would have been.
And we
doing
sound like old men because I didn't want that shit at the race we did because
But
for
I
a
would,
lot,
if I was 8 or 10, I'd be doing the same shit.
Oh, it'd be awesome if you're
I
a
would
little
want
kid.
it, but I'll tell you this: I would want to do it, and I would try to do it. My dad would be like, "What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Park that shit." He
Yeah.
would not let me do it. My dad
See,
would not
my
let me do
parents
it.
wouldn't
No.
either. I never had
Not
a
happening.
pit bike. I didn't have a pit bike
That's
until
what
I was
amazes me.
40-something years old.
When I'm announcing a race, I'm like, why do I keep having to tell you guys where? Raise your hand if you know where your kids are. I mean, half
Yeah.
the people don't know where the hell their kids are. I'm like, that's half the problem.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, it's a big
I'm
part
not
of the
saying be a
problem.
pain in the ass parent, but like, God dang, dude, do
I
your
can tell you
job.
one time. I remember one time I told my dad. I gave my dad the "everybody's doing it" thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, that ain't gonna go over well.
That did not go over well at all.
What did he have to say about that?
He shut that. This happened twice. Once when I was small.
Man, everybody's doing it.
Listen, and then one
So
time
you go to jail
know,
with everybody else too.
I'd go work for my dad, right? So we went to Florida or something on spring break, and I told my dad I was going to be back on Saturday evening and I would be at work on Sunday morning. Okay, well the weather got shitty, and then on that Friday and Saturday it got super nice. So everybody's like,
wanna
"We're
hang
just going
out."
to stay till Sunday, right?"
Hell yeah, screw my dad.
And so I called my dad, drive to the store, call my dad, collect on a payphone, and I was like, "Hey," I said, "Hey, the weather just got good. We're having a good time." I
Do you
said,
think his dad gives a
"Hey,"
shit? This
I
old
said,
dude.
"Everybody's just going to stay till Sunday."
Oh, really?
And my dad goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Well, tell everybody to have fun, but you better have your ass at work tomorrow morning
Yes.
at 6 a.m."
That's all. Click.
Yep.
And
See
click.
ya.
And that was it. There was no discussion. No, hey, I'm driving back from Panama City just by myself.
Damn, the dude's having a good time.
That's hard on your heart when you know everybody stayed.
Yep.
I mean, I can for real remember coming home whatever day I came home, and some people stayed one more day or whatever. I didn't have a hotel, so I didn't. I'd be laying there at night like, man,
All the good shit happened when you left.
it all did.
I could be
you know?
watching everybody else get laid because I
Well,
ain't getting laid, but I'd be watching
Yes,
everybody.
exactly,
I'll be watching Nick get laid, man. That's cool, man. Like Buddy White, man. I watch you get laid, man. That's cool, man. Appreciate it.
buddy. Buddy, I mean, do we tell that story? I guess we don't.
No,
Okay.
but yeah. So like that's why I tell my kids, I'm like, I don't give a damn what everybody's doing. It doesn't matter.
But
Well,
there-
I got a kid that was born in the 1800s, so he don't give a dang what everybody else
Right,
is
he's
doing.
doing
If
the
he's
opposite.
going home, he's going home. If he's staying, he's staying. He's not influenced by them. But then Ava's the other way. She's more like, well, they're
she's with the
staying.
crowd.
I'm
Yeah,
staying.
she's
Yeah,
having
she
a
wants
good-
to have fun.
yeah, she's having a good time.
And Rhett
Fear of
doesn't
missing
care
out.
about fun. He's
like
more
that.
about, you know,
Get my shit done. I
I'm
got
done.
plans. I got
I've
stuff
already
to do.
already stayed.
Could you keep off my grass, please?
Yeah.
That's it.
Can you park better? Rhett, he's the
Yeah,
parking police up here.
We pull in. I have to check with Rhett. See, are we good to park here?
you cool if I block this bay
that'll
door?
work.
I leave him my keys every week.
Every
When I get here.
time, yeah.
Yep.
There's no telling what he's running whenever, Nick's vehicle's not being watched.
So just be mindful of that whenever you guys out there that happen to have kids, yours or you know of or whatever, dude. Like, just pay a damn attention to them. Like, these are the same people, though, I guarantee you, that drop their kid off at school and expect those teachers to raise them and do all that junk. So
teach them,
it's
and give them good habits and manners. All that
Sure.
stuff's supposed to come from your house. It's amazing that you can enter private property, sign a waiver at the gate,
Yep.
sign up to race, and sign another waiver that's really like identical. But now you've acknowledged that you've read it,
The
even though you
signs
didn't.
say, race at your own risk.
Then you do your riders meeting, and they're like,
If you are not
"You
comfortable,
can die."
you can get your money back. Please
We would
do.
love to give you your money back
I
right
say that
now.
in my riders meetings.
And people still
And they'll rate,
stay.
they'll practice. race 2 or 3 motos, then crash. And then it's on. Like
I think there should be a precedent set. Like when you sign that second waiver,
That ought to be it.
whoever's taking that waiver should just be able to just reach over the table,
Smack
and slap
the hell out of you,
shit
kick
out
the
of you,
shit
and
out
go,
of you.
Yeah, to make them aware that
Yeah.
they just signed. I'm
All
sorry,
right.
sir. I have to hit you.
Oh, that got my attention.
Oh,
Well,
now
good.
I know
I
I
just wanna
signed.
You
show
might get
that it's
hurt.
dangerous.
This is how dangerous it is. At any minute, I could just slap the shit out of you.
I'd love
Random
to see Nick
guys are
back there
hired to
just-
slap dudes all day long. Nick just goes around kicks
Nick
them.
could just be looking at him, just trying to decide
Nick,
if it's time.
Number 22, slap shit out of him right now on the radio. Here we go, boss.
Yeah, and then Nick just rears back, dude.
I mean,
comes
that's
at
as
him.
dangerous as racing
Like
is.
he's from
It
France.
happens just like that. Out of nowhere, you're going to get a Coca-Cola, and next thing you know, you're, whoa!
Yeah,
You
just
kick
beat
the shit from behind. I mean, that's racing.
But it is hard to believe, and I know I've ridden sketchy tracks, man.
But you chose to.
Talking
You
Rock,
saw it.
not the Talking Rock Arena, the
old
old
G
Talking
one.
Rock one on the dirt road over there
Yeah.
that you raced, and their second turn, I bet it was 100 feet down on the backside of that berm, and it was a gnarly left hairpin bowled out
Sure.
turn. And I remember thinking, dude, if anybody punted me or I punted them, like they'd be hurt.
Dead.
There was a BMX track in Evansville, Indiana, and I did boot a dude over the berm right
Hell
there.
yeah, you did.
And I bet it was 40 feet just vertical right there behind it. And he landed and he rolled, and it's all grass and
It's all
everything.
good.
But he was waiting on me at the finish line.
Good.
But that is always, we have never ridden
That's
a
part
motor-
of it.
Even when we ride on power lines.
Well, that's why we can't ride anywhere else now.
True.
Because some jackass to get hurt and sue a property owner that had never been to the property.
But you know what I mean? Like we rode, as kids, we rode gas lines, power lines, whatever those trails were. And Barry's up there on stuff that was cut by the Confederate Army.
Sure.
Riding those trails from the 1700s. He actually said that. You know, those trails up there from the 1700s. And I'm just like, what?
Then he goes, no, I did not help cut him. He beat me to the punch.
But
when
like-
I was a kid, I couldn't understand why the government just didn't open up all the power lines for people to ride.
It's the best track ever.
Yeah.
It's at
They
least a
built in
place
all
to
these cool
ride.
jumps.
Yeah.
Yeah, they terrace everything
Yes.
so it doesn't erode, and we're over there
Creek
like,
crossings.
"Rah,
Look how
rah."
wide this track is, dude. It's straight. There's no turns.
Dude, I wore out some mini bikes.
Everybody
on power
like-
and gas lines.
Everybody has a
Yeah.
power line story, dude.
I tried so hard to have Jason Grogan here tonight. He was a local A rider from
He
here.
did- what was his best finish at Loretta's?
I don't know. I've never looked him up.
Dang it.
But he was fast, and we remember at local races he was fast, and so. But he all his riding was gas line, power line, pulpwood roads. Like
Egg Farm.
yeah, once he could drive. But when we were little kids, every bit of it was what's on Cedar Crest Road that you can connect to.
Right.
Dirt road to power line to gas line to pulpwood road. Like that was it. And
To winning races.
yeah, and then he, I just, that's not available these days. It's 2 hours in a truck. You're driving somewhere.
Yeah, that's probably a lot to do with why not so many people like basketball. There's a court. You can just grab that $10 ball, and there's a court. within
Emerson
walking
right here,
distance.
Lake Point's got that looks like a, I don't know, 70, 80,000 square foot building. And it's
Yeah,
just,
there's probably 10 basketball courts in there.
just loaded
easily.
in there. Two stories of them, right? Or no?
No, just one.
Just one?
But like when
Now,
they do
here's
wrestling
the-
tournaments
here's
there's a
the-
shit ton of people.
Devil's advocate to the electric bikes. I did see a all Suron arena cross race online this week.
Yeah, they're happening.
I mean,
As far as what are you saying? Like we could start riding power lines again if we were on electric bikes?
yeah, not really legally, but we could.
We say it all the time. Like,
I'm
let's
gonna
just go
ride
down.
this fucking golf course down the street from you one night when I leave here, regardless.
It'd be badass.
I'm
On
just
some
telling
dual
you.
sports or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave. I don't care whatever I got with a headlight. I'm gonna leave here one night and go. Brr.
And just hit it and get out.
Yeah,
That's how you got to do. You got to jump everything, hit what you're going to hit, and get out.
hit it and quit it.
Don't
son.
hit it twice.
Dicks.
Roll.
Ruin that
Hit it
thing.
and quit.
No,
Shit.
we'll be gentle on the throttle.
Yeah.
We know how to modulate, Kevin. We're
What if they
freaking
caught
experts.
you? And now everybody knows.
How are they gonna catch us?
But I'm just saying,
You
what if
seen
they
how
did?
Nick's been riding lately?
Ain't nobody catching
Nobody's
him.
catching Nick.
But you couldn't catch. That's the one thing. Like you see the cops trying to catch those guys, those wheelie boys downtown. They can't catch you on a dirt bike. You could surround me in a Publix parking lot.
You
with,
could- you could get away.
100 cops, and I could get away.
As long as they don't start shooting, you can
As
get
long as
away.
they don't start shooting, I can get away.
So don't shoot.
I mean, until they get a helicopter, and then they're just going to follow you. But
You
if
couldn't
it's just
catch me.
cars,
You could hide. They're not going to get a helicopter out
we'll
here for
go
this
up
golf
there
course.
to Lake Point and we'll go through that tunnel that goes under 75, juke them out in there because it forks halfway through. Right fork gets real low.
We just-
Left fork stays certain height. They'd never think you're going to take the right fork, but we'll lean the bike over and push it out the other end and we're gone.
We'll take an XR and just leave it in there and go get it later.
Yeah, we'll leave it. And then we'll
And
be
have
on
another
foot, be
one
like
wait.
John J. Rambo. I'll cut the seat cover out of a 74 C60.
Make me a poncho out of that bitch.
Yeah.
Kill a hog.
Oh,
You know how
wow.
you kill a hog? What did he sharpen up? An antler or something to
That was
kill
just
that?
a stick, I think.
You got
He
a
jumped
you got a
off on it.
straw. You're gonna breathe through a pond at some point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get that reed and you just breathe, and then you just surface with a bow and arrow and just
The reed.
with explosives on it.
Was it a
He
reed
was
from a
breathing through a
motorcycle?
reed.
No, I know. I
A
was just
Chad reed. He was breathing through a Chad
Chad
reed.
Reed. Chad Reed.
What are you doing, mate?
Yeah, John J.
Those are
Rambo.
called Australian reeds you see growing up out of the pond.
Australian reeds.
Those are Chad
Those are
Reeds.
Chad
I
Reeds.
got a Chad Reed patch in
Dude,
my
I was
pond.
breathing through a Chad reed one time.
That would be.
Hey, one thing I think we should mention: there's this thing called the FIM Oceania Women's Motocross event. It's in Australia. Christina Denny is sending a team. It's a Motocross to Nations for Women type event. And
How old are these women?
Oh God.
What?
Do they need a liaison?
I really
was-
don't know.
That was a legitimate question.
No, it wasn't.
The FIM
I can't-
Oceania Women's
Why
Motocross
does he have Daddy
Cup.
on the back of his jacket? Nick's
He's a leather jacket.
Sponsor.
He's wearing leather
It just
pants.
just says
sponsor.
Daddy.
It says daddy.
Daddy sponsor.
Daddy sponsor. I'm a sponsor. Instead of Sugar Daddy, I'm a sponsor daddy.
So this race is coming up,
What a
and
douchebag.
it's one of those things. It's the FIM. It's their way of starting back women's motocross. You remember, women's motocross had a moto at the intermission
Sure.
for years.
I can see me being really passionate about this.
I totally see that too. But what is happening is the launch of bringing that back to the AMA Nationals. And, I'm never going to be able to take it
No,
serious.
yeah,
Now,
because he's gonna mess it
he
up.
just blew up.
I'd
I'd like
You
to
guys are
apologize to Christina right now. She
Go
sent
ahead.
me this.
Go
No,
ahead.
it's fine.
Are you done? You done?
I think I'm done.
Can you contain
Let
yourself?
Nick continue. We need to go down Nick's thread.
Good.
No, but basically it's this
Daddy
is,
sponsor.
it's kind of the relaunch of bringing the women's motocross back to the forefront. There's girls that are fast. That Kylie Stallings girl, she goes fast.
Hell yeah, they go fast.
I
Lala
can't
Turner.
I can't beat those people.
No, you cannot.
And it's like they need to have a stage. Because after Loretta's, what do?
Taylor Allred. Yeah, man.
Lala on the
Is that Lux's sister?
Yes.
Yes, Lala and Lux.
Yeah, I know where he was going. He was going Lala on the main stage.
Yeah,
is what
yeah.
He was going. So
he was
stop.
going that way. But it doesn't matter. We're just joking. But like, I do see a need for this
They
in
do.
the sport.
They need a landing spot for sure.
There is, and who better to head it up than Christina Denny? But
nobody's better than her to do it.
No.
yeah,
She's better-
100%.
Nobody's better at anything than she is.
So she's heading to than
Period.
anything
Ever.
in the history of everything.
I mean, she's on point. She's got it. Listen, if she has anything to do with it and it's got a chance of being a success, she's a big part of that chance.
All right, listen up. I've got something I have to announce. This is from Vermoto. We have to make this read. So listen up if you want to save, let's see, 15% off.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Elevate your riding experience with the pinnacle of motorcycle chain kits, DID and Renthal Race Ready chain kits. Two of the most championship winning brands in motorcycle racing have teamed up to bring you the ultimate all-in-one solution for riders seeking top-tier performance, durability, and effortless maintenance. Use discount code DID Race Ready for 15% off chain kits today at DIDchain.com. That is
DID Race Ready is the code.
DID Race Ready for 15% off your chain kit today at DIDchain.com.
The main thing is that we need gold links.
I need some gold links.
You got to look good, dude.
dude.
Hold
what's the point?
on. When you got through reading that, I'm sending that in as a promise to John's power company so we can keep the power on.
That's how you're going to pay the power bill?
Yep, with that DID.
Look, dog.
That DID. Hey, they got that DID code's going to pay the power bill.
It will.
Like Johnny G when he says we got it going on, and you're like, but are you making money? Yeah, but we are making progress.
Yes.
We're getting there.
And that's how you make money. You take your discount codes to the power company.
Yes.
Hey, but
you're
the
right,
nicest
gold
chain-
links. Oh,
The nicest chain's expensive.
yeah.
You're going to be in there deep, but I will tell you.
How much for the best chain? You $100?
I think 100, 110, 120. Depending on your, if you're on a 701, it's $130
because that chain's 700
because it's
foot
long, because it's got a 9-foot swing arm.
and it's 14 karat gold, dude.
But they do last longer, and they do not stretch as much. If you buy a cheap chain, you'll be adjusting that thing all the
Was
freaking
that
time.
was that just a scam or a myth back in the day? Man, I love an O-ring chain, but it's heavier. Like was the rubber? The rubber things were like what made it that much?
I know
heavier?
it's heavier. I can feel it in the box, but I do run O-rings on that 701 and the 501.
Little rubber things are that much.
And
what
you
else?
know, it doesn't even matter if you lube the thing. We rode.
I used to run
500
O-rings on everything. I put one on my motocross bike back in the day.
Did you really?
Yeah, I couldn't tell.
Yeah, I
the
never
difference.
did. But I would say on a small bore bike, I bet you'd
so.
feel it. Somebody that is tuned into their motorcycle would feel it.
Then that's my problem.
Yeah,
right
I'm
there.
not tuned in like
Yeah,
I'm
that.
we
fouling
wouldn't know.
plugs. That's how slow I'm going. Blah.
Yeah.
But like, man, this thing, look at all this
It ain't
junk
pulling
dripping on my
good.
swing arm.
Yes.
What is all
Just
this
dripping out of the.
splooge?
But I tell you what, especially on a Honda, a gold chain looks
Oh, it's the
so
baddest.
good against that
with some
red.
gold rims.
Oh, yeah. If you got gold rims, that's the
on.
baddest of the bad.
some gold
What
teeth.
year did they have gold rims on Hondas? There's 1 or 2 years.
83 through 87 or 88. No, 88 had silver. So 83 through 87.
You know, I got a
For
gold,
sure.
I got a gold tooth.
That's called
Okay.
a.
I do.
Hey, your brother took his teeth out, by the way,
It happens.
and then started like trying to ask us out and stuff. And
He
I
tried
was
to give us a velvet rope treatment.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, man, what about this? He goes, well, I
that
don't
off,
have real teeth. So he takes partials out.
Those are the ones that got knocked out in Atlanta.
Yeah, he said he dented his crossbar with his bottom teeth. You ever known anybody dent?
Whoa.
Hey, look, drink responsibly.
Yeah, I remember that. I mean, obviously I was there.
I remember it too. I was there.
Was this the one where you're like, he comes out of the turn and
I
you
was
know
like
he's
already heading down.
Yeah.
I'm like last lap of practice before the Supercross, and I'm like, he was sweating that triple. Everybody's, when are you gonna jump at? That's how dumb the people we were hanging out with. How are you gonna jump at triple? Like
man,
There are
you
probably
ain't nothing.
only 4 people in the main jumping it.
7 or 8, probably.
Especially a small
Consistently.
125.
Yeah,
Yeah, because most
Back in
bikes
99,
couldn't even jump it.
You jump basically. You touch the top rafters like you went,
Straight up, straight down.
and he came up short, and then dislocated his shoulder, blew his teeth out, and
Most of the bikes wouldn't make it, and Kyle's was one of those most.
It was what bike were we on? Were we the 92 KX 120 or KTM 125s?
Honda maybe. I don't remember now. Yamaha maybe.
Oh, 99. Yeah, it wasn't the 92. You said 99, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That'd be, it was Honda's in maybe. I don't know. He's in his truck.
He had
right,
he had
He's in
Hondas.
his truck right now screaming at us because
Yeah, he's like,
That was
stupid
Honda's-
idiots. How do y'all not remember?
It was Hondas and Yamaha.
Let's
he's
talk
already
about
told me-
Kyle.
Yeah, let's talk about him for a minute. He's already told me that Kevin's details on all his stories are fucked.
Yeah,
they
Kevin, I
wrong?
need to be there because Kevin just tells these stupid stories. He's off by a mile. His details are
Like
all
what?
wrong. We don't have an
Well,
example.
then I call.
But I'll
bullshit.
tell- I'll
Well,
say
he needs
this.
to be here to keep me in check.
I told him to be
Because I'll
here.
run wild in the streets if you don't let me tell me.
So
something.
he lobs a volley at you saying Kevin's stories are jacked. He don't know the details.
Yeah.
Then we'll lob one back at Kyle. We're driving down the road and I go, hey, look, there's Kyle. And it was his truck at a gas station with his bike in the back. We pull in there and we get out and we're just going to go in the store. And Nick goes, he hands me the keys real slowly to his truck. He goes, Kyle left his truck running.
Okay. Great. I know.
Why in the hell? Your brother has had motorcycles stolen
He left his truck running.
with the bike.
with
in
a
the
bike in the back.
Did you get in that move at something?
Yes, of course I did.
Yes. And then we're hanging out on the side of the building trying to film him when he comes out.
Did you get a film of it?
Who leaves their truck running with their bike in the back?
He acted like, and he's not here to defend himself, so I can say whatever I want.
Yes.
Yes,
That's what I
that's
do.
how
so-
stories should be told.
Yes.
He acted like he saw us on the TV inside, like the clothes, and like it didn't shock him. I know
But what if he
there
didn't
was
see
at
you?
least a flash of panic.
A little bit when your truck starts moving, right?
Yes.
He comes out, I saw you idiots. And we're like, yeah,
But what if you?
did you?
I
But what
know
if?
that-
What if you saw a guy stealing your truck?
Yeah,
I mean, what's the difference?
yes.
What if it was a making meth head?
Stealing your shit, dog.
What if we would have passed his truck going the other direction?
Where the
Hey, there
hell's
goes
Kyle
All
going?
right, Kyle. Next show, you have to come here and defend yourself. Like,
Why-
Tell me the stories I'm specifically blowing. I mean, it's not because I'm trying to whatever, but I think
Now Kevin's like, he's going to be.
Man, that's bullshit.
no. I think I mean, I'm sure I forget details, and I'm of course a year or two off or whatever.
I told Kyle it doesn't matter about the details. What matters is that the story's good. Who cares if it's off by 10%?
There was nothing malicious in that statement.
No,
We're-
I know,
We're
I know.
making it worse than it is.
No, I love it because me and Kyle bust each other.
He couldn't. I don't think he could name anything. He just said, "Man, I'm gonna have to start."
I mean,
coming
I
over
was
there.
the king of flipping out. Like when we were late to a race, I'm like, we're gonna miss practice.
Dude, that was me.
I'd be flipping out for him. I'm like, I took you to 3 practices this week, and this is we're late.
Now on
I'm
race day
stressing."
when it matters, we don't care.
And it was my fault probably for.
Do you remember that though? Just rolling in like 8 minutes before
Hell yes,
sign
I
up.
do.
I remember.
I remember being lost. I'm
Why
like,
did we do
We're
that?
at Hillbilly Hills, and I'm supposed to be at Ejikoni. I'm like, like we're way away. We're 30 minutes away. I'm like, and we have no
Went to the wrong
GPS.
track.
What,
We
no
got
GPS,
a map,
nothing
dog.
like that?
I got a map.
Yeah. I tell you,
I know 81 will get me there at some point. I know they're close to 81, both of them.
I may have told this story before, but one time I was going to Big Buck in the GNCC in South Carolina, and I took a wrong turn, right? Somewhere fucking Albuquerque, I don't know.
He's going down the interstate wrong, and now it's plain
So
Everybody's like, you're going the wrong way.
Ugh.
How do you know where we're going?
And to express to y'all how my life has always been with making decisions, like I just woke up, like I wasn't planning on going to the GNCC.
That morning.
I woke up early, like 3 a.m. I couldn't sleep.
Let's go to GNCC.
And I was like,
dude.
shit.
If I'm up,
Let's go.
I might
baby.
as well go by myself, take off. I throw this bike in the back of this little truck I was driving, go take a wrong turn.
Hell yeah.
I'm like, all right, and I'm way out of the way, right? And so I'm going to miss it. I'm thinking I'm going to miss it, but I turn around and just hold to the floor all the way there, get there. I pull in. This tells you how good motorcycle people are.
Hurry up.
I come flying in, just stop the truck, and I'm like, oh shit, where's sign up? And the guys next to me are like, it's down there. You know, it's a GNCC, so I'm
so by God.
by God, it's down there around the corner. And so when I get back, I take my bag with me. I'm getting dressed in line,
Jesus,
right? And when I get back, the guys that I parked next to had unloaded my bike, aired my tires, and filled it with gas.
Dude.
And it was sitting there running.
That's jam
Same
up.
as Kurt Nickel.
Jam up.
I came running back up, and they're like, I swear to God, they went, we put 12 in the front, 11 in the back. We got you gassed up. You're ready to go.
What if Kurt Nickel was like, I need to thank Leroy and Woodrow up there at the Big Buck GNCC for giving me the idea to run Champion
I
MX.
literally hopped on that bike, rode to the starting line. It's a dead engine start. I rode to the starting line.
Turned it off.
Shut it off.
Turned
and
it
he
back
goes,
on.
10 seconds. Took off.
Only Nick.
And it worked
I
out
would have
just fine.
I'd have had to
Third.
poop my
Third
pants.
place.
Got
90,
third.
got
Funny,
third. I wouldn't have been able. I'd have been so nervous. That would make me so
Yeah, it
nervous.
takes a. Oh man, well, going to the airport, me and him when we flew wherever we just flew. You remember we couldn't park. Like, yeah, we're gonna park here, and turns
that's
out we
cool.
could not park there.
Yeah.
And then we go to the parking place with a shuttle, and that damn bus would never come get us. I'm like, we are going to miss this flight. He goes, man, no, we're not. I'm like, bro, we got like 26 minutes.
Nick,
and we
don't
are
worry.
off airport right now. We got to get on this bus, go through. It's no problem.
That I wish I could live my life like that.
I know it. There's no stress.
Because
dude.
Nick will live to be 150.
We got there. We didn't have much time, so we're strolling up through the airport. And I told Kevin, I said, come on, we're going through the priority line. And he's like, well, man, I don't have priority. And I
You
was
do
like,
today. Just follow me, of course.
Follow me at like what you know what you're doing.
Yep.
I tried that wherever I was with coming back from
Can I see your ticket, sir?
Well, they
you're
wouldn't
like,
let
you're
Amanda
like
and
level
Ava.
5. You suck.
because I have
We
priority.
came rolling through.
They wouldn't let them
I
through.
said something to Kevin and started laughing. There's 2 big black ladies working the thing. And I said, hey, man, how y'all doing today?
Yep.
And they smiled and said,
You're
y'all
so
come-
cute, and we
Come
just
on.
roll right through. He had to have sex with one of them. So
yeah, but that
Thank
did delay you a little,
you.
Not much. It
but
was,
like 2 minutes, right?
it was,
It was so buttery.
brown sugar.
All right, let's call Shane McElrath. And hey, you guys want to discuss these trophies, by the way? Like,
Oh, yeah. If you're watching on YouTube, we've got a lot of trophies here now.
this is the actual Supercross Championship
the-
trophy.
for you that are
That's the one he
for
not,
you that are listening that
not one
thought
race.
we meant like local trophies.
No.
We have a 2018 Supercross Championship.
That's the one you get for the whole deal.
And that thing's 100 pounds. It's
It's
easily
big.
100 pounds. It's big, man.
Then you got the
That's an East
We had
Coast
to
right
hire
there.
a full-time polisher.
second place finisher, Zach Osborne here.
That ain't second. That's an East Coast championship.
Oh, so this is a
that just
championship,
is missing the E on the top.
and
but
that's the championship. Then
that's a
there's
450 Supercross championship.
And this,
This
is
is a 250
250 East.
and this is a 450 Supercross
win. That is a Anaheim 1 win right here, right? This gold one.
Yeah.
Was
It says the date. It's January 9th, I think, Anaheim.
So
Somewhere it
Yeah,
says
it's
it.
Anaheim 1 winner 2016.
not bad.
And then the other one is the 250 West Supercross Championship. I mean, it's just amazing what all we've won.
God, John, you were fast.
When
man.
we
so
start
good.
winning,
And now you got those. I think the Bears are still more impressive. What you
I
did
do
to
like the
get those
Bears better. Hey, and I still can barely pick up a piece of paper with my
because of
stupid
that.
broke
Still
hand.
worth it.
I can't function, but it's just amazing what we've won. You know,
What we won.
when we
Yeah.
won that
When we
Supercross
did that.
championship,
Yep.
all 3 championships,
Listen,
really,
if
we were.
If they can say we for the team,
You damn
if
right.
we have the trophies, now we can
That
say
we're
we.
part of it.
We're part of the whole
yeah,
thing.
why would we have trophies if we didn't win?
That's right. We're part of it.
I just want. I'd like to thank, you know, mostly Nick for his big Nick energy.
Yeah.
You know, for always taking me to the front of the pack and
Calling you,
kissing
John.
me under the
Testing you out.
mistletoe. Oh my God, Kevin Kelly's calling. Hi, Kevin. Kevin.
There we go. It worked. That's all we need. That's all I
Oh
had to do.
God, I feel so much better now. Just knowing that, Kevin, when you test that, I'm telling you, that settles my soul on levels like you ain't never seen before.
Here we go. Going live.
So what was anything
Stop it.
interesting happened to Shane McElrath this year?
He slightly dominated some Australian supercrosses. Slightly.
Yo,
Shane McElrath.
what's happening?
Hey, do you have? I think we're going to only be able to do 5 hours tonight.
Yeah. So I hope you're
Yeah,
not
it's
busy.
fine.
Good. Man.
He said, "Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine."
Are you driving somewhere in
Yeah, that's
Australia,
fine.
like spending all your money, or like what's going on?
No, I'm back home now.
Where are we at? North Carolina?
I'm in the great U.S. of A.
Are we out west, down south? Where are we at?
I am in Florida,
Right on. Right
Yep.
on.
a little bit south of Alabama.
You are. I told him our show is really big
Yeah.
in Birmingham and Selma.
Yeah.
Very popular
Yeah.
with our show.
I found a trophy that is from Selma. What kind of race was it?
Race across the bridge.
Is that what it was?
Oh, God. Good
It was
Lord.
a equal rights race.
Yes. That's
Yeah. I do have something in here. I saw
From
it the other
Selma,
day. It says
Alabama?
Selma, Alabama on it.
Bro, I ain't touching
It's from
none.
the 60s.
I ain't
I'm not sure.
Bro, it's from the 60s. Good Lord.
I'm just kidding. I do have a trophy that says Selma, though. That is not a joke.
Wow. You ever raced in Selma, Alabama, Shane?
I have not.
No
I
way.
I don't know if I've ever heard of Selma.
Well, it's what was that? Martin Luther King?
It's
Or
very popular. That's where
It's
Martin Luther
very
King. It's where
historical
the
shit happened.
Yes.
was that where
Gotcha.
the biggest speech or no? Or was
No,
this,
it's where they walked across the
Yeah,
bridge.
it's,
They walked across
it's
the bridge.
kind of
to
where it
Selma.
started. It was one of the
and
main
then
pivotal points of the
the
whole-
race movement?
Yeah.
John
Equal
Lewis
rights.
got knocked in the head on that bridge.
Yeah, and they were joined a man that was walking, and they joined in with this one man that was
Yeah.
not to be denied. Anyway, so
It was
anyway,
it's a big civil rights place.
Things
it was like
Shane had on
it was
his
the
list.
Anaheim one
of civil rights.
of civil
Of
rights.
Yeah.
That's
Just
how we
to put
relate
it
it back.
put it into a historical perspective there for you folks.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It's bigger than
That's
that,
a
honestly.
stretch, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm really.
That's a
doing
big stretch.
Some disservice here. So, well, what's going on, man? I talked to Weigand. He says you have to be the only guy that's raced. I think you've raced 39 times this year. He says you've raced everything.
40, I believe.
40
Wow,
races.
40 events.
I think it's 40. Yeah.
Okay, so you tell me, is that too many, or you're a guy? I mean, you're a guy that wants to make some money, I'd imagine. So you're probably cool with racing 49 times.
Yeah. Honestly, the second half of the year for me
The last
was,
20
well,
rounds.
my time in Australia, was honestly really fun, because it was a lot more travel, but it honestly it took away from like training time, which I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard of anybody in the States overtraining, but
No,
it
no.
was
None of them
like
do.
it was really nice. It's like
go race.
we were just racing over there. Yeah. And so that was honestly, it was like I got my offer from Urive, and suddenly I was just not tired anymore. And it's like, all right, well, I guess we're going to Australia and we're going racing. And we honestly had a blast.
Super motivating then to get to Yuriv Konski on there. I mean,
Yeah.
so it sort of felt like a vacation with a money making potential each week, right?
Correct. And that honestly, that's what was really cool about it, is like, for me, I take my job seriously, and literally we sign contracts to race. And that's where it's like, I felt like I was doing my job as a racer, and it was like my sole focus is racing. We would go during the week. We would kind of ride when we could, kind of weather dependent and also travel schedule dependent. But it was like we were making changes to the bike and we were testing stuff. And so it wasn't like we're putting in 40-hour work weeks to then go and race for 30 minutes on the weekend. It was like, hey, it doesn't matter what really happens during the week. Like, yes, we still have work to do. But every one of the races that we did were actually pretty heavy race days. And that collectively as a team, we understood that. And so it's like the week to week stuff may change, but the racing on the weekends, it's like we were completely focused on that. And
it sounds like you unlocked something there, like with the amount of races you did this year, kind of tapering off towards the end is the only way you can be successful. Because I mean, you're telling me you were tired, but now the fun of winning takes away from the lack of training you had to do. Kind of all seemed to work out.
Rejuvenated everything, right?
Yeah. Do you think that like later on in the year, your fitness is obviously there? Because I'm sure
the base is good.
Yeah, you guys put on your base. You've been doing your sprints. You've been doing all this stuff, and then it gets to a point where you just need to race, or you're at, you're not going to get really any better shape during certain times of it. So, and then you like, how long would you have to stay off the bike before you felt awkward? Could you race on Saturday night this week and then go Saturday night next week and still feel
without
fresh?
riding during the week?
Yeah.
And how long could you do that? Like 2 or 3 weeks in a row before you're like, all right, I got to ride a little bit.
I mean, you don't want to do that long term, obviously.
We were just looking for an easy way.
Like my last week, because we did the double header in Perth, and that was like a lot of riding. Like that's probably been one of my hardest weekends of racing since I turned pro, just because of how much track time we had. I mean, it was like the first day we had 45 minutes of track time just for practice, and then we had our 4 main events. And same with the next day, they actually canceled one of our practices because a lot of us were just like, dude, we literally don't need another 45 minutes
going out.
Thank
of
God.
practice.
I know the track.
Yeah.
I got the track.
Yeah.
Yes. And it was hot the next day.
Mm.
And so it honestly, it was really fun kind of learning to adapt to the different schedules and the different time zones. And it was a lot of work, but at the same time, I was talking to Brayton quite a bit, and it's funny how he helped kind of put it into perspective, because he was like, you mean to tell me you're going to race all year here, and then at the end of the year, you need another 3 months to get ready for the next year? He was like, explain that to me.
Right.
And that's where, like, this year I haven't stopped racing, but the thing is, like, all year you can't replicate racing at the track or at the practice track. And so we've just been racing a lot, and it's been crazy what that does, like, mentally and physically. It's like, yes, we don't stop training altogether, but it's like the weeks we still are doing exercises or cardio every day, but the bike time, we don't lose that. And even if, say, we took like 2 weeks off the bike and only did off the bike stuff, when we come back riding, we haven't really lost anything. And we actually might be even better because we're truly rested, because the riding, like, you don't realize the toll that it takes on you, on your nervous system, and like just your eye movements and like your brain fatigue. That's one of the biggest things, especially Supercross, the loads that your body goes through. Like, physically it's not that hard, but mentally you're just exhausted at the end of a riding day. And you do that over and over, and it's like physically you may feel fine, but it's like you're a little bit lethargic, like with your nervous system. And so
that sounds very similar to
learning.
Days at Loretta's for me. Like back-to-back days, I'm sure my load is way more intense than your load. Like being awesome on the mic 4 and 5
For every
and
moto,
6 days in a row.
People don't add that up and
Good
know
luck.
how taxing
12
that is.
hours. You ride for an hour,
Dude,
bro. I do 12 hours at Loretta's.
I was thinking about it, and I was like, when I first answered the phone and I heard your voice, and I'm like, man, I hear this voice 2 times a year, and that's Loretta's and Minio's, and it's nice to hear it for a third time.
And he don't ever shut up.
I never shut up.
He'll announce all day long. He'll do 12 hours, Shane, and then come back to the camper and go, all right, let's fire up that karaoke. And then
We
he'll
do
go till
karaoke.
2 o'clock in the morning acting like he's some karaoke announcer.
No, I do Daytona too, man. I announce your Supercross, but you don't hear it because it's me.
Oh,
and-
that's when
yeah,
he's
I
riding.
don't hear that.
yeah, because he's racing.
But
Maybe
believe
you
it
could
or
get him
not,
on Cardo.
people watch Loretta's and Minio's online for the commentary.
for dumb stuff.
They literally don't care about the racing. It's like,
What's
go
he
find
gonna
the C
say?
class, or they call it novice class or whatever.
Yeah.
Go find the C class. Go listen to that. Watch
Listen
the C
to the
class and the pros. That's it.
God, don't kill
Especially
Kevin.
on a mud race. Let's hear what he's got to
Don't
say.
Kevin doesn't need that kind of ego stuff.
Hey, he
No,
avoided
I
a
do
he
need
avoided
that.
a close call this year at Loretta's. He had a it was, I don't think it was you doing the talking, but Kevin oftentimes dodges just because the sheer number of announcers in the tower.
But if somebody says something stupid, Kevin gets blamed. So that
Yes.
he's the
A
ass.
lot of times
Absolutely.
he either gets blamed or they think it's Wes Kane.
Yes.
This year you avoided it.
Yep.
Because a guy crashed for, I don't know,
Dude.
like 8 laps.
He was in I'll give you the story. This guy was in the vet class. He's a good rider, but he was in the vet class
Yeah.
and he was loose on a motorcycle. So loose. What do they call this guy? I mean,
Scary guy.
Scary guy. He's from the New England,
Yeah.
and we were talking about him, and the
He crashed
message
for
boards
2 whole laps.
for almost 2 laps. We're like, whoa, and we were just like the whole time. And then Wes started announcing, and I pulled back because he started swapping about. I don't know. He's racing right next to Jeff Emig, and I'm like, "You're going to kill the
You're gonna
ODI
kill
guy,
the national
Supercross
champ."
champ," and like. And I just pulled back, and Wes, like, he goes, oh, and he starts swapping for days. Finally, he crashes, and Wes just can't help himself. He's just like, and then the guy
The guy knows about it.
the guy hears about it, and then
Hey, and this guy's brain, all he was thinking is, I'm riding right next to Jeff Emig.
but
Yeah, that's
so
all he thought.
he gets on the podium, and little skinny little white guy has to go down there and interview him. He goes, oh shit, I got to go talk to this guy. He goes, yeah, I heard what y'all were saying about me. And Weege goes, fair enough, sir. Like he was holding his hand
Didn't
up.
Weege give him like gummy
Yeah.
snacks or something?
Well, he was going to. No, Kevin Wyndham was going to go down there and get him because he was going to give him props. Like Wyndham was pumped with him. He goes, "I heard y'all talking shit about me," and everybody's like, "Oh man!" But now we fixed it.
Somebody offered him a treat, like a roller dog or something. Somebody offered him food.
Yeah, I think Wygant was going to and realized he was going to get beat up on the
Oh, so
podium.
maybe he shouldn't offer.
No,
okay,
he
yeah.
thought better of it, and Wyndham didn't know either. He was going down there to give the guy props. He goes, "I heard y'all talking shit about me," but anyway, it was just a
That's
wild,
fine.
So
wild
yeah,
scenario.
Shane, it's not just you that.
Thinks I say stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
I get
awesome.
blamed for a lot of stuff, but
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's so cool that like what you were saying about getting back to racing, I guess, but what you were saying about you, like at that point you're in shape. Like it's not. It always seems strange to me when, like at the end of the season, you guys only have, without you going to Australia and doing every race between here and Australia, like
2 weeks.
yeah, there's still not a lot of time, and it's not like you get out of shape and need to go back to doing base training between.
Yeah, you're not
Correct.
laying at an office
September.
job for 7 years.
Yeah, it's like
It's
yeah,
2 weeks.
You
or
don't need
3
a
weeks.
whole lot of base between September and January 8th. You know what I mean, or whatever it is. You're in shape.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and that's like today was my first day riding since Abu Dhabi, which has been a week and a half ago.
Bless you.
And I didn't after Abu Dhabi, we got back last Sunday and didn't do anything all week. Like
You
I
earned
got
that.
sick a little bit. Yes. I got sick a little bit. Tuesday started feeling better. Then Joy was sick and she's still kind of sick. And then I started feeling bad on Saturday again. But Saturday and Sunday I got back on the bicycle and just kind of like opening my body back up. And then today, like going out on the track, I'm like, I got back on the 450 and I'm like, oh man, I'm going to have to like kind of learn again. It's like, it feels like it's been a while, but it really hasn't been a while. And I'm like, dude, it's fine. Like I go out and I just like muscle memory takes over and it's like, I'm stringing laps together. Like I didn't even take any time off. And I'm like, okay, I was definitely overthinking it, but that's kind of normal for us during an off season where it's like, hey, we take some time off for rest and we come back and it's like, okay, we're going to have to take a couple days to actually really learn things again. And honestly, today I'm like, well, I mean, I only took a week and a half off, but mentally I still think that it's going to be like that. But then I get out there and physically it's not like that at all.
Yeah.
Hey, how particular are you with like bikes and bike setup? Because I've seen you change colors, and like how long does it take you to acclimate? Or, you know, like if somebody rolls your bars 10 millimeters forward, will you notice that? Like me personally, I could get on 3 different 125s. I suck so bad. So that's really not a fair assessment, but just the average Joe,
Yeah.
like I'm just not going to notice shit. I can go within a second on any manufacturer's bike, period. Just because I suck. But
Any
what about you?
manufacturer, any CC,
I mean,
Any year.
any
I could ride
year.
an 88 and I'm still going to be about a second. Just,
Yes.
And that's not, I mean, that's just how shitty I am. But like, I know you guys are like dialed in with your bikes, but like, tell me how that process
sensitive are
works
you?
for you.
Yeah. I'm pretty particular at this point about not switching bikes. Like that's where I'm like, dude, I need to just spend time on one bike. That way it's like I can actually set things up. But honestly, for me, I'm pretty particular about bar setup, and I think even suspension, it's like once I get like the bike working well, I don't really care to change it. And it's not like it works perfect. It's like I like to be able to adapt and just know that the bike is going to be consistent and it's going to be well rounded for like different tracks, different conditions. And then it's like, hey, okay, I need to ride a little bit different here.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the easiest way I've found for me is like, yes, I mean, sometimes the track does get rough and it's like, okay, the bike works good one moto, but it was beating me up a little bit. So we'll do like small clicker things. And we definitely feel that stuff. But for the most part, I mean, kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, like we put so much time in that when one thing's off a little bit, it like we definitely notice it. So that's where we are particular. I think in a healthy way. There's for sure guys that overanalyze, and it's like, hey, everything's working good. You set this up to where you wanted it, but then even though it's good, you want to go try other stuff. It's like, I don't really care to do that. It's like, hey, this works. Let's eliminate that variable. And if we need to change something else or test other parts, like I don't want to change many things at one time because you can get lost doing that. So
It sounds like it's
yeah.
like a big part of it is getting it to where it's just predictable. Like you want it to be
Yes.
good, but you want it to be predictable
And safe.
Yeah, where you know what it's going to
Yes.
do. You know, you don't want to.
Are
Yeah.
you a guy that sets it up more for the whoops or for turning, or is it somewhere in the middle? I mean, obviously that's a beautiful combination to have it somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I really like to focus on the whoops because I know that if my bike works how I need it to in the whoops, it's going to work everywhere else. And that's where, because when we get to the races, it's really hard to set the bike up at the practice track to be good at the races. And for me, I always try to end up a little bit stiff at the practice track because when we go to the race, the intensity is going to be higher
And you're going to go deep.
and
harder.
the rhythms and the transitions are going to be probably a little bit bigger and a little bit steeper. And so, yeah, when it comes to racing, it's like I need to be able to do everything the way that the bike is supposed to do it. And also when I set my bike up, it's like if I need to pass somebody, it's like we're racing hard when we're out there, but we definitely have to, like, air quote, send it when we're trying to pass somebody, and the bike needs to be able to hold up under that load also. So it's like, hey, you have your normal race pace, which is high intensity, but then it's like when you jump a jump into the corner for the sake of making a pass, the bike's still got to be able to hold up there.
Do you ever think that you're riding next to guys that are concerned about just doing certain jumps? Like, do you ever think, like, and I'm not to bring any highlights.
Saying like a lower level.
Well, like my brother, one of his final Supercross races where he blows 3 or 5 of his teeth back in and breaks his shoulder. The whole day was like, man, you gonna jump that triple? This is 1999, so you got guys out there.
Yeah.
That's no longer a thing because it was a bike thing. But like,
Well, it's a 125.
but there are guys that are like,
Man, I hope I do that rhythm section. I don't want to take Shane McElrath out. That sucks.
like there are guys that
Yeah.
aren't very in control.
Yeah, you're on
like,
the track with dudes who aren't all at your level.
yeah. That must be
Sometimes.
frightening.
Yeah.
At times.
And it is good that they have the practices split like they do.
I need all 45 minutes.
but
They're going to give me
honestly-
more. I'll take it.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, honestly, when our bike setup is off, especially for me, it's like there's a way that I ride that almost eliminates thinking about the bike. And so like when we're on the Supercross track, stuff's just happening like fast. So it's like mentally, once you get your bike set up in a good spot, that takes that variable out mentally of when you're on the track. You're just almost like second nature. Like, okay, I'm going to hit this turn. I'm going to like just push through these jumps. You're not actually focused on what the bike's doing.
No, I'm
But
saying
to
there
get to that point-
there are dorks that are not to
Yes.
that point, and they are now an obstacle for you.
And they're near you.
And how your bike
Yes.
setup is don't mean jack to Johnny Blue Jeans
Well,
who's going to hang left into you.
Correct. But I say that because there's times where I feel like a dork because my bike setup is off. And I'm like,
Okay.
I'm worried about doing those jumps. And
Ah,
so it's
okay, I
like
got you.
you've got the top guys where it's like they've spent all off season with their teams, or maybe they've been on the same bike for 2 years. It's like they're not thinking about bike at all. They're just going absolutely fast. Where it's
Gotcha.
like, hey, I just got on this brand new brand that I've never raced in the 450 class, and I'm trying to figure out how does the chassis work versus is the suspension even close or what? And trying to do some of these big jumps, I'm like, dude, I'm straight air wheeling, my timing's off. So it's like I feel like a hazard at times if my bike setup is off.
Speaking of hazards, and you
Bo
know,
and Luke.
if you don't feel good about talking about this, but like, man, Vince Freeze, like,
Yeah.
if it's like, and I'll say this, what's his name? Freaking A, the freak, not Scottie Pippen, but damn it,
We're talking about another
Dennis
sport.
Rodman?
Dennis Rodman.
Rodman.
So, okay, Dennis Rodman early in his career used to hack a bunch of dudes, got a bunch of fouls, and he got this reputation of doing stuff. And then later on in his career, he would be doing things and he wouldn't even be fouling guys, and he was just, it's a foul.
Oh,
now.
it was he was already fouled
Yeah.
before he
Correct.
fouled.
Correct.
Right.
So I say
Yeah.
that to go, Vince Freeze seems to be always in the middle of stuff. Sometimes it's not his fault. Sometimes it is. But then everybody's reaction is,
Well, everybody's judgment is they're over it.
they're over it.
They're
Everybody
over
from
it.
Dean
Yeah.
Wilson to
I
whoever.
couldn't imagine having to compete with him.
Yeah. So can you speak to, and you know, just racing with a guy like that? And like, if you, I think even his own, I think Ryan Brees's team might have put
Was
out.
it Brees who went
Yeah.
wide in the next turn?
Yes. And he goes, and Brian, their team put a statement out like, had he just closed the deal out, he would not even have to be in this position.
Yeah, he
They're
went
like-
wide. You don't go
Yeah.
wide on Vince Freeze, right?
So
Shane?
anyway, can you speak to that?
Yeah, it's honestly, it's really tough. I mean, that's where
You got to put that guy
there
down almost.
is-
Nobody
there
does.
there
though.
is a common denominator, I guess, where it's like, hey, there's drama going on. It's like it's Vince. It like almost doesn't surprise you anymore, and that's what's hard. Is like I like Vince a lot, and that's what I tell people is like, oh, Vince this, Vince that. I'm like, hey, I don't agree with the way that he rides a lot of the time, but I really like him as a person. And I was thinking about it the other day.
He's
'cause
like
I
a nice
watched, like,
bank
the-
robber.
I've always heard he's a cool dude.
He's like
Yeah.
a nice bank robber.
yeah, man, I love that guy.
And-
I just didn't want to spend
I
30 years
heard
in
him,
prison.
Yeah, I was watching the highlights the other day, and I was thinking, I'm like, man, Vince Freeze, he doesn't have any friends, and I was
He's
just
got
thinking,
you.
like, he's probably ranked number 3 in the world, or in all existence, to get the most hate mail.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the first
He's
is
top
probably
3
Jesus
on
Christ.
hate mail.
He's number one.
The second one is Donald Trump,
Okay.
and then it's Vince Freeze to get the most hate mail
Who's number 1?
ever.
Jesus
And
Christ.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus gets the most hate
And-
mail. Then Donald Trump. Then Freeze.
Then Vince-
All right, I'm
Yeah.
just picking up what
Dang.
you're
Yeah.
Freezy made the podium.
And Yeah, Freeze. I mean, but the thing is, like, I try to put myself in that situation. I mean, for him to continue to get good starts and to continue to put himself in those positions, like to be battling, like, dude, he's like
He's a bad.
really
Tougher
strong.
than
And
anybody.
Yeah, he
that's
is.
what's crazy is like, dude, he just takes it all and he shows back up and he does it again.
I
Like
mean-
it's nothing. And it's funny, but obviously I've never really been on the
As long as it's
other
not
end of
happening to
that.
you, it's funny,
But
right?
and the thing is, like, Vince and I mean, we've been on the same team, we've battled at times, and the thing is, I respect him and he respects me, and he rides that way. But it's like you can tell the people that he doesn't respect.
There's a
and
bunch of
it's
them.
hard.
Damn.
Yes.
Pretty much everybody but you.
It's hard because it's like, why should they respect you? But it's like, dude, you give it to him one time and you let him know that, hey, I'm not just going to move over and I'm not going to take it, but I don't have an issue with you. And it's like, he's a grown up, like that. It's just, it's funny, but it's not funny. And that's, yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not here for it because I do enjoy every bit
Yeah.
of it. And I'm like, my wife knows nothing about dirt bikes. And when we're watching this race, I
Yeah.
said, watch this guy right here. Just key on him and just tell me chaos will follow. Just pay attention. And she's like, oh my goodness. He doesn't like that guy. I'm like, nope, that's not it at all.
But Barsha
Yeah.
used to be the same way. I was watching a race with Larry and his wife one day, and Larry called me and said we were watching the race, and my wife's Justin Barsha got into something, and she knows nothing about Supercross. She's like, well, Bam Bam's gonna Bam Bam.
Yeah.
Hey, he
He told
did
me
make
that.
some crazy aggressive
Yeah.
moves early in his career.
And like you said, Freezy now, like Kevin was saying, he's been involved in so much that
He's
he
guilty
just gotta be
whether
like,
he's guilty or not.
Yeah, what's this fine
Yeah.
for? Well, there was an accident in the parking
So
lot
if-
before the race.
It's gotta be
So
Freeze.
man,
we
it has to
went
be
ahead and
Freeze.
we went ahead and fined Freeze for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody else does the
But
same
the
thing.
thing is, you can tell who he respects and who he doesn't. And that's where you have to
Dang,
you
Dean
have
Wilson.
to look at everybody. I mean,
Here's-
dude, he
He doesn't respect many people.
He
Same
hates
with
Dean
Barsha.
Wilson.
It's
he
like,
does hate Dean Wilson.
obviously there's like certain scenarios where Barsha has got into it with people that never get into it with anybody, but it's
Yeah.
like there's people that Barsha runs into every time they're close to each other.
For sure.
And there's people that he rarely ever touches.
Yeah.
And same with Freeze. It's like,
Yeah, he's got a list he
because
doesn't mess
Vince
with. Right?
knows, dude.
How did he not respect Weston Pike? That big son of a gun.
That's incredible.
How
right?
would you
Yeah.
want to square it with that big
Maybe
old
you're
dude?
thinking
Yeah.
of Alessi. Well, Alessi didn't respect him either.
Who? Weston Pike?
Yeah.
Weston Pike punched Vince Freeze in the racetrack.
Oh, yeah. But Alessi had some run-ins with him,
Yeah,
too.
yeah, he did. I don't know.
Tickle.
I
I think of
Oh,
all
man.
that, man. Alessi, it's not coming from the team because Freeze did it before he was on, which he's been on that team for a long time.
Dude, Vince Freeze did it at my track. First time I ever met Vince Freeze was at my regional. He got into a fist fight on the track in the first turn, and then whoever he was with, his mechanic, was throwing rocks at the guy. Vince was cutting across the track trying to wipe this dude out. We're on the radio trying to stop the race. First time ever. He came up from
And that's
MTO.
when he's like 12 or something.
No, he was in the B class. He was like 17.
Okay.
They go down the first turn. There's a full blown fight. Then he gets. I'm talking about fist throwing, and then he gets
It
up.
was
He's
time.
he's
Oh,
trying to
gosh.
ghost into
It's a
this guy
regional. It's time to
during
fight.
the moto. And that was my first experience with
There's
it.
no reason to be like urgent about trying to get a good finish. It's just a regional.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? There's
Yeah.
time.
Hey, if you get a bad start and you can get the thing red flagged with a fist fight, go
Sure.
for it.
Yeah, exactly.
They take alternates at Loretta's.
Sure.
Yeah, they
I mean,
take
that was
mail
all
in
he
your
was worried
money.
about.
Alternate island, baby.
Yeah.
Just mail that money in. You check the board up there on Monday.
Yeah.
Hey,
How'd
Shane,
you get in Loretta's? Knockout first time.
KO. First turn KO.
Wow, never heard of that one.
Hey, what about that travel down there in Australia? Once you were there, like what was the week to week like? Because you get used to America. You probably go through Atlanta a lot.
It's lovely.
It
Yeah,
can't be
honestly,
like Atlanta.
dude, I'm telling you what. Dude, you get away with some sketchy stuff in Australia. And like we started traveling down there, and it took us a couple like trips to actually like learn the ropes. And then it's like, you know what? These people here have never had a 911. Like that dude, just about anything flies through security. You don't even have to have a boarding pass to go through security.
Wow.
It's like you just line up, send your bag through the scanner.
Yeah, you
and
don't even have a reason
can
to be
take
there.
Yeah, right. You
liquids.
look like you're traveling,
No.
mate. Go on through, right?
Yeah. You take any amount of liquid you want, doesn't matter what it is.
A gallon
You
of
just send it
gasoline.
through,
Come
pick
on
your
through,
stuff
right?
up, and
Yeah.
Gas can.
Race gas
it was
can.
definitely a loose program there.
Well,
and that's
not only
it
just
took us
that.
a little bit. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
not only that, it's like, so that they're lax on that. And I've heard this in New Zealand too. Like, they don't worry about people riding motorcycles on other people's land. It's like the early 80s was in America. It's just like
70s, yeah.
or 70s, just ride your motorcycle. Like, they're not lawsuit happy. And it's like they're just 30, 40 years behind America. America has developed
That's
some
not
bad.
that's not a bad thing.
That's what
either.
I'm saying. Those
Yeah.
are great qualities.
Yep.
Like, I like what you're saying.
Yeah.
I like the looseness. Sounds easy.
And I think that's so. Honestly, they've got a lot of bark, but they don't actually do anything about it. And it's like, yes, I mean, I think as our nature, it's like we want to follow the rules to an extent, but it's like, hey, dude, I mean, I gotta go backwards down the road, or I gotta do whatever. It's
Yeah.
like they definitely will. Hey, you shouldn't do that. It's like, yeah, whatever, and you just keep going, and it's like, okay, they just like roll over.
Yeah.
Same with like the UK and stuff. It's like, oh, like follow the rules, this and that, or you're, and then it's like you just stand up to them, and they're like, oh, okay,
Oh, my bad,
just
mate.
do whatever.
I should have tried that with my
and,
damn ticket I got at the donations. We went to the UK and I got a ticket mailed to me in America.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Did you pay that?
Yep.
Listen, I tried not to pay it, and then Hertz paid it and charged my credit card for it.
okay.
Oh, so you didn't
Yeah.
have to say.
I got the
Yeah.
ticket, and I still to this day don't know what it was for. I have
It was
no
just
idea.
so they could
Yeah.
get money.
They sent me the picture of a car, of our car. Like I'm supposed to
Just driving down the road
Yeah,
going,
that's our car. I don't
what
know
would
what
you
the
like?
hell. We're already
Yeah.
on the wrong side of the fucking road.
Do they drive on the right side of the
Yeah.
road, Shane? They drive proper?
No,
Yeah,
Australia.
no, we drove backwards over there.
So
And-
did your drivers almost kill you on you sitting in the passenger side? Or
I'm
anything?
never gonna live that down.
No, dude, I was driving everywhere.
Oh, so you were killing your
I
passengers.
took control.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. We were driving a big old Honda van over there.
Left side mirror just
And-
absolutely raked from the bushes and stuff.
Yep.
That
Yeah.
was our.
And honestly, though, other than the speed limit being a little bit lower than I would prefer,
Yeah.
that we literally barely seen any cops anywhere, and we seen no accidents. Like no fender benders, no accidents on the freeway. It's like, dude, I mean, everybody drove pretty normal.
We
Like,
didn't
they're-
see
they're
cops
honestly-
either, and I still got a fucking ticket.
Yeah.
Nick's mad.
Well, yeah, they've got they were telling me that they've got the radar systems, like they'll park them in cars on the side of the road, and they
Oh.
also have some like under the bridges, which is similar to like England.
Yeah.
Which I mean, obviously that's
I tricked you, mate. Right, pull over.
yeah, it's
Sound like
I mean,
crocodile
obviously they
Dundee.
don't have any rights there anyway, which is why we live in the US, but
Yep.
I mean, yeah, we get to do what we want to an extent, but obviously if we get caught, there's
Pay the
consequences.
price.
So
Hey, you were talking
Yeah.
about the Honda van. They do have the coolest vans, like in the UK and other places. Like they got badass
Yeah, we
vans.
got
that
janky. We don't get anything.
Yeah.
They have cool vans.
Yeah.
Like we would see like
They had Sprinter vans 20 years before we had them. Like,
Yeah.
way cooler.
we were
Yes,
like,
they did.
They were like, man, that's a cool ass van. We don't get any of that shit.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah,
Struggling in the
let's
van.
go back in time and talk about racing during that COVID 8 straight weeks in Utah or whatever that was like. Like, tell me what that
Yep.
was even like getting Q-tips shoved up your nose daily. Like, that was a radical
No
time.
way. Were they testing you like all the time before each
The
event? or
bubble and all that stuff.
no, I want to say we only had to get tested before we went.
That's what I would
the
think.
first
To
time.
the bubble, into your little bubble.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
And obviously at that time you weren't supposed to intermingle with any other bubbles, and then it was after like the first 2 rounds, Feld and AMA was like, okay, guys, if you're intermingling with bubbles, just don't post about it, because obviously everybody's just kind of doing whatever. But yeah, it's honestly, it was really cool. We loved the Salt Lake City area.
Heck yeah.
That's somewhere we enjoy going. Kind of like Nashville. It's like there's a couple different stops where we may stay an extra day if we have the time.
Yeah.
Just because we love the area.
Detroit,
And-
awesome. Heck yeah.
Yeah,
man.
burnt down.
Yeah, we
buildings.
love going to Detroit. Yeah. Love going to Chicago. Like
Yeah.
we normally fly to
High-rises.
Chicago to drive
Love it.
over to Redbud.
Yeah.
All the
And
graffiti.
we just, yeah, my
Hey,
wife loves
Shane, you
doing
got to
that.
know that we're not above pissing a city or state off here and there on this show or country.
We've made a
Yeah.
few countries
No,
and cities mad.
We had a big problem with Latvia earlier this year.
With who?
Latvia,
He says Latvia. I say Latvia.
Latvia.
Whatever.
Latvian
Tomato, dude.
MX.
Either way, Latvia can suck it. But we fixed it.
We did fix it.
There's
we gave him
dudes,
a big
we made
hug.
some comment, and of all the people that were listening, they're like, hey, man, Latvia's really pretty.
We had a
whatever.
couple
I'm
of
like,
Latvian listeners, and they actually called us out.
if we could piss somebody off, the Latvian contingent of
and then
motocross
Nick
fans.
said Sturgis was some kind of hellhole. Or maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Who said
I'm
it.
still waiting to get my ass kicked over that one because I'm sure some Harley
Those dudes in the
riders
Harley costumes, they'll
yeah,
get you.
them guys that dress
Harley
up for that.
costumes.
They have this. So evidently, they have this big costume party in a place called Sturgis. Like once
Yep.
a year,
A lot
there's
of
a lot of
leather.
dudes. They dress up like I guess it's all gay people
Yeah.
because they do. It's like a big bear, like
Gay people.
Yeah.
like you
Just
know,
make it worse, Nick.
Don't
You're the only
agree.
one big enough to
Don't
fight.
don't pull Shane down in this
It's
with you.
like
Shane
Shane,
has
big,
nothing
yes,
to do with
don't
it.
agree
I'm
with
just
this.
telling Shane,
We're the
I'm sure
Vince
he's
Freeze of getting
probably-
beat up.
He's probably never heard of this big leather and lace thing they have in Sturgis,
He probably has.
and so
He just knows better than to mess with
Anyway, I
those,
said
those
something
dentists
about
that dress
that.
up.
evidently there are a few people that weren't real happy with my assessment.
What
of
he's saying,
Sturgis.
Shane, is if you had a race in Sturgis, that's not a place you'd stay an extra day at.
It's not pretty. It's like Hollywood.
Yeah.
Hollywood's gross.
It's gross.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Yeah,
want to stay
you
there.
can't make everybody happy.
No, we can't.
So
Hey,
it-
Especially
it's
by
okay.
calling
Hey,
them
if you don't
names.
like French fries, there's nothing to eat in Sturgis.
I know it is. It's hamburgers and French fries. That's all they have.
Like,
man.
what are you gonna eat? French fries? What's on the menu? French fries.
Yeah, we got them with cheese
They
too.
get curly fries? No.
Just cheese.
Straight
Just-
American fries, like
Just
everybody here is
straight fries,
straight.
That's right.
We got our fries straight.
We
Hey.
don't have any of them sissy curly
Hey
fries
Shane,
here.
so you
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been to Australia, but like when you're there, is that a place you could picture yourself living, or is it so different that you're like, man, I'm ready to get home?
Spiders are huge, man.
It's almost as good as the U.S.
Oh,
Like
I would think so.
it
I
is.
have no idea.
It's really similar. The people are honestly really nice. The food is one of the best parts about it. The food and the coffee. Like it's really hard to have a bad meal or have bad coffee when you're over there.
Okay,
And
That's saying
honestly,
something.
like
it is saying something.
yeah, the food regulations are a lot stricter over there, and
Mm.
everybody, like Australians in general, like I didn't really meet or come in contact with any that like didn't take pride in their work, but it's like everybody loves their job is what it seems like over
Ah.
there. It's like
That's pretty
it's not
refreshing.
a burden. It's like yeah, they take pride in their work, and that literally showed all over the place. Whether I mean, we didn't, I think go searching for different stuff, but it's like the care and the consistency of the food, like just a normal cafe, where it's like you literally walk in and you're the only one in there, and you order something from the menu and it's made like you can tell that it was made with care, like from the way that they plated it to the way that they cooked it. And it was just like, dude, they enjoy what they do. And yeah, it was just really refreshing, like you said, to see that. Cause it's like, dude, I mean, there's a lot that we can take from that. And I mean,
America.
obviously
I
we're,
mean, that sounds just like the
yeah.
Golden Corral here.
I was thinking that sounds like the Atlanta airport.
yeah, they're
employees.
very happy to be there.
Yeah.
Man,
Golden Corral.
shoot, they're like mad
Yeah.
that you're even flying.
Why?
Like,
Hey,
the only
Atlanta-
reason you have a job is because
Yeah.
I'm here, man.
Yeah,
I
Atlanta,
hate you,
yeah, Atlanta Airport. You walk up and they're like,
man.
hey,
Shoot.
Your
hey,
flight canceled. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, how do you know that?
yeah.
That's what I look. Take that order.
I always ask. I always like that though.
you
When
want,
you when you
man?
go to some place, and you you're surprised by how nice it was. Like, I'll say this, like you mentioned the food restrictions.
You're playing here, dummy.
Yeah, like you mentioned those food restrictions. So 2 years ago, I went to France for the Ernée of the Motocross of Nations, and I lost 9 pounds there on their food, and I ate everything I wanted to eat, and I felt so good after I ate those meals. Whereas if I would have ate that same amount here in America,
Curly flies,
I'd
put
be
a fat
laying
ass
down.
over here. That's the way it goes.
I'd be laying down like bloated and all that. It's like you can tell the difference in the food. Did you notice that you felt better with their food? I know you probably keep it tight here.
Because here, I mean, the thing is, like, we have a few places we eat. Like, honestly, here, we try to just eat at home. Because it's like, dude, there's only a few places where we'll actually go and eat out.
Like McDonald's. I know there's a lot of elite athletes go to McDonald's.
Bojangles, obviously.
Yeah.
We eat at home, and it's like, hey, dude, I mean, it's not necessarily from a price perspective, but it's like, dude, the quality and the taste is just so much better when we eat at home. And we got over there, and it was like the first week we went to the grocery store and we're cooking stuff at like the Airbnb, and we're like, dude, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing or not doing? Like, we did have some meals at home, and honestly, we got to where we would get rice in a bag, and we would get steaks. Those were the only things we would eat from the store. And everything else, we just go out to eat because it's like, and we definitely started like pushing the envelope. Like, we're expanding our searches here to where it's like, we don't really care where we go, just to see, like, is the food still good?
Yeah.
And
Taco Bell?
It's like, there were
not in Australia.
No, we didn't go to Taco Bell. We didn't go that far, but
that radical.
It's like, oh, you just like the airport food. It's like, dude, you can take your pick at any cafe or any restaurant in the airport, and it's like really good food, whatever like regardless of what kind of restaurant they are. And it was. And back to what you're saying about like the food in France, it's like we were just eating. It's like, hey, what do you want? It's like, it doesn't matter. We just need to eat. Stop by like a little cafe, get some of their pastries and stuff that's in their little cabinet that obviously we can tell that they made them, and have a coffee, and it's like solid.
Yeah.
Like, happy with it. And
it doesn't have the same junk here. I mean, I don't know how our food industry got so tainted, but I was only there 10 days. I lost 9 pounds, and I only walked for 2 or 3 days. I didn't have this insane physically demanding trip.
Well, even when we were in the UK for the Nations this year, it's pretty obvious when you look around. Like,
there's not as many fat people.
No, it's not.
There's no DaVita dialysis place running around everywhere.
No.
Yeah, there's not one.
We have
that's like a
dialysis
franchise. We got DaVita
DaVita dialysis are everywhere, dude.
Yeah, they don't have that over there because everybody's pretty slim.
It's fat as hell.
Pretty rare to find somebody that's, big. I'm trying to be super
big
nice
boned.
right now.
It's just big
boned. Them big boned. They're not any big boned girls over there.
No, you're right. I mean, we didn't see any bigger people. I mean, their food is.
We had a whole thing about this weekend because we were talking about this town near us, the Hiram. Like, I was at there's a Golden Corral in front of a Sam's Club, and I was like, you get like when you're just in that Sam's Club, it's. I mean, I'm a big guy and I feel small in there.
Nick's just tall. He's not like big. He's just.
I mean,
You're fit.
And there's a dialysis place 3 doors down.
And I told
and
John,
then the hospital's 3 doors down from that. And then hospice in the corner.
Yeah, you just basically start at Sam's and you die that afternoon.
Die at the corner, and they bury
and
you.
it's all taken care of in one city block.
The way you get a girl in that town to do a certain thing to you, that
a lot of butter. Just throw some butter at her.
You just dip that thing in ranch.
Nick's theory is
ranch dressing.
Dip it in ranch, and they'll go to town.
And every girl loves you. As long as you're dipped in ranch.
Dude, and that's the thing in Australia. Like, we didn't use any condiments. Like, no ketchup.
I don't use them either.
No
Nick's hadn't used a
sauces.
condiment in years.
What are you saying, though?
I knew somebody was going to make a joke about that.
Well, we went straight from dipping stuff in ranch
Condiment.
It's impossible.
Sorry, dude.
But so you're saying you use no ketchup or whatever?
No, I don't normally use ketchup anyway, but it's like if the food is bad enough, it's like, hey, I'm still gonna eat it because I need to eat, but it's like, okay, we've gotta, sauce it up a little bit or something.
Yeah.
But over there, it's like, dude, no,
It's too good.
That's awesome.
yeah.
Have you ever been to like
they
a super
they
good?
do need to use salt, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Because salt tastes good.
So, what were you
Yeah.
gonna say, Nick?
I was gonna say, have you ever been to like you take somebody to a nice steakhouse or whatever, and like I mean a real steakhouse, not Longhorn or whatever, and they ask for like Heinz 57 or 81
Yeah,
sauce
you
or
can't do
something,
that with a high dollar steak.
and you're like,
Yeah,
get
that's
outta
some
here.
Golden Corral stuff
yeah,
right
you're
there.
like, the chef's gonna come out and just kick your ass.
yeah,
in
he's
just
gonna
a
be
second.
angry because
Yeah.
you need to try it
He's gonna be
first.
pissed.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
wild. So basically, your performance down there in Australia was you were happy with everything, right?
Yeah, really happy about it.
I mean, that seems so fun.
It was.
That's
Yeah.
a once in a
We
lifetime
had a
experience
blast,
too, man.
honestly.
That's awesome. Like that's an
Yeah.
experience. Like, how long were you over there total?
I went for 10 days originally to do the first 2 rounds, and then I came back home, and I was home for about a week and a half, and then we flew to Canada, and then from Canada we flew back to Australia. So total, we left like October 24th to go to Canada, and then we got back home on December 9th. So
That's quite a
it
trip.
was, close to probably 6 weeks.
That's something that you will
Yeah.
grow to appreciate
You
more
had your
and
wife
more
with
as
you?
you age.
Yeah.
You'll
Yeah.
always look back on that fondly. That's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
And
trip.
we actually stayed a couple different places in the same general area. We stayed kind of with the team, like we're in a team house for the first, well, mainly the majority of it. And then the last 2 weeks there, like the first week we stayed a little bit south of where we were, kind of like along the coast. And then the last week there, we actually stayed in Melbourne, like at the Crown where we were going to be staying that weekend anyway. We just stayed up there all week, and that was honestly a lot of fun too. So,
What was
yeah.
your favorite? Was there one city that stood out to you over there?
I'm not sure. Like we raced in a couple different places. Perth was all the way on the west coast. We honestly weren't there long enough to do anything other than race. We flew to Sydney. We raced a little bit outside of Sydney, and we also raced in Queensland or Brisbane. And I've heard that area is like really nice if you go like 30 minutes north. We didn't get to do that, but it was really cool staying over there. Honestly, I think I liked a little bit south of Melbourne where we were the most, because we got to actually get to know the area, and we felt like, oh, we know where we're going. Like, hey, let's go down here for dinner. And yeah, it was just like, okay, we're at the beach, but we're like working technically.
Yeah.
So it was honestly a really nice trip.
Perth just sounds like some gladiator shit every time I hear that. Like when somebody says Perth, Australia, yeah, that just sounds like it just sounds so old and like something significant should
I
have
am from
happened there.
Perth.
What's the tarantula situation down there?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I've heard a lot about spiders
But he was concerned.
and snakes, but like we didn't see anything, thankfully.
Good.
And it was also like the weather was just starting to warm up for them.
What in
Like
tarantula
they're
season?
going into summer, so it's like there wasn't really anything out, but that's what we heard a lot about. It's like, dude, wait till you see the spiders
It's
and the snakes.
It's a
like,
fair question.
Kevin
I don't
was
want
scared
to.
to ask the question. He's so scared.
You're
of
right.
spiders.
Don't get out of your car after
Well,
midnight. Tarantulas
according-
are all over the
Tarantulas will
place.
bite your feet.
According to the internet,
Yeah.
you guys have to be the only people that have ever survived going down there and not getting
Ever, right?
bit by a snake, spider,
The
Scorpion,
Bushmaster will
a
get you.
scorpion, a great white shark. I
Yeah.
mean,
They come inland. They come
people
hundreds
just
of
get,
miles.
Yeah, you get attacked at a stadium by a
shark.
great white shark. Yeah,
The sharks come inland.
crocodile. We forgot
Yeah,
about the crocodiles.
They call him Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
damn right.
And Steve,
I didn't
Irwin.
go in the ocean. I did hear about the sharks, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not
good
even
on
gonna. I'm not gonna play with it. Yeah.
So you were on the coast and you didn't feel the need to like just sort of put your foot in there for a second. Just sort
Yeah, we were walking on the beach, and
okay.
I barely dipped my foot in, but
You're
Okay,
like,
that's
take,
all
I'm
you-
not going
take
in there.
that, bitches, you
That-
sharks.
That's all you
That
needed
shark's
though.
like,
Just sort of
come on out here, baby. Come
Just
on.
sort of
Hey,
touch the
another
water.
2 feet, your ass was grass. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
You would have been dead.
Even
2
though
feet.
there's people swimming in the water, it's like, hey, I ain't going in there.
No, they're chumming
Hey,
the waters, dude.
when you tell the story, it's just
Yeah.
like, well, that's when I was in Australia and I survived the great whites, even though you only got in like ankle
Yeah.
He
deep.
barely touched the
Nobody
water.
has to know. I
He
won,
still survived
I won
it.
races, survived shark attacks. It's a hell of a week.
Yeah.
Came back. I just love to see him come back. Like, I want to see you show up at Anaheim, like full on dressed like Crocodile Dundee. Like,
Look at this shit.
Yeah.
He's
Just
been out
being
there
stage
3
and pulling
weeks.
knives on people.
Out of the way, Reedy.
Well,
right?
I mean, I may be able to pull that off if I could grow a mullet, but dude, I'm telling you, the mullets were the mullets were the haircut down there. It's
never
like
went out of style.
every dude, I'm
They're
telling you,
30
the
years
kids
behind
down
America.
there, it's like if you're under 18 years old down there, you've got a mullet.
That's
Like
fighting
it
hair,
doesn't
Shane.
matter. That dude, I'm telling you what, those guys, they run it proud too.
That's felony hair right
I'm
there,
like,
Yeah.
son.
dude,
Yeah, if
I
you've got
just-
that hair, you're going to
I-
either commit crimes or fight people.
Yeah.
That's all
Fighting
there.
felonies, son.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fighting felonies and effing. That's what I do with this hair right
F,
here.
F, F hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Hey, how are you ready for the American season?
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I will be
It's coming.
in a couple weeks. It's yeah, I got a little bit of work to do on the bike, and we are. Yeah, I think it's physically I'm in a good spot, and mentally I'm in a good spot, and it's just we don't have a lot of time. Obviously, it's weird because it's like, oh, we don't technically have an off season, but we've had a really long off season.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to
So-
run about 60 miles a week, ride about 300 miles on your road bike.
And you'll be exhausted
Yeah.
by the time you
that-
coast
there's-
into
you know,
A1
you gotta
with
get that.
fumes.
There's no such thing as overtraining.
Just
Yeah.
have
Just-
a bag,
You'll
like
be
IV
good to
bag
go.
Yeah.
when you roll up
yeah,
to the
just
gate.
show up.
Hey,
Yeah.
think about this, and I don't know if you know the history, and I'm sure you do, but like back in the day when MC moved from Honda to Suzuki, you know he did that with 2 weeks to spare. He moved 2 weeks from Anaheim
Before
1
Anaheim won.
on that RM 250. 2 weeks, not exaggerating, not adding to it. Dude showed
And he
up.
still won a race.
Yeah, he got wiped out by Steve Lamson, his former teammate, first turn. Tortelli wins that race, I believe, on the Kawasaki.
Yep.
But I mean, can you imagine like just pulling the plug on whatever it
Yeah.
is you had going and going, all right,
Especially coming off that was a big run on Honda with a great chassis and a nice motor and all the stuff.
and then going to Suzuki, which was probably your least favorite
dated
choice.
at that point.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, like for McGrath, it's weird because like when I watch him ride, especially around, well, maybe not everybody else, but it's like you can tell that he rides with confidence, or he rode with confidence. And I don't know, I mean, maybe he was like, hey, I can ride anything and
Probably.
go and do that. But it's like to think about doing that 2 weeks before.
It's
But
insane.
just like watching him against his competition, like he was like Stewart. Stewart always looked like he was relaxed, but it's like you could tell he was going really fast. And it's like, hey, act cool, but go fast.
Yeah.
And McGrath was kind of the same way. It was like look cool at all costs, even though he was still going faster than the other guys. And yeah, I mean, to me, you'd have to be mentally in a really good spot to do that, because it's like that's a lot of work to go and compete, because realistically you're behind and you're at a disadvantage, so then you have to make up that gap.
Yeah.
And
with
whether
talent.
that's mentally.
Talent, mental.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, because I mean, yes, racing brings improvements with the bike, but it's like that's just time. And in that scenario, you don't really have time. So what are the other variables that are kind of going to fill that gap?
Yeah, that you can control, right?
Yeah, and you got to think he's coming off like
Mhm.
multiple wins, multiple Supercross championships. He is the guy.
It
And
was
I'm talking about-
boring to watch races
yeah, and
during that.
so this is like a little line in the sand. He loses that year, and then comes back with Yamaha, wipes the floor with everybody again. So like it was just an off year. It's just a perfect storm
So
of
that
shit.
Suzuki year started with Wyatt Seals as his mechanic, and I went to the Huddle Brewery there in Las Vegas, and I asked Skip Norfolk about that year because I didn't remember Skip even worked on the bike. I was like, what was it like for y'all to dominate at Honda, and then all of a sudden you're not working for Suzuki? And he goes, oh, they eventually got me back. They brought him in, and he realized that throttle was not going. Wyatt had put a Honda throttle on this Suzuki, and the slide was hitting the top of the carburetor,
opening.
and it wasn't going all the way wide open. So Jeremy
my
even won a
gosh,
race
dude.
with a bike that would only go 3/4. I mean, it was wide open, but it wasn't wide open. He twisted the
Wow.
throttle
Yeah.
till it stopped.
I've never heard that. That's awesome.
That's what Skip Norfolk told me at Huddle
Wow.
Brewery in the back, and it was during the COVID years, and he yelled at me because I pulled my mask down when I got in the back. He's like,
Oh my
dang,
God.
He's
Skip,
all about
all
tolerances.
the things.
All the
You almost
tolerances.
killed him.
I was like, dude,
You almost killed him.
we know moto. We're safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
We ride a dirt bike. I'm really not concerned with
Yeah, I've
this.
inhaled more cow manure than anybody, so I think we're fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
fertilizer.
I don't know
inhaled-
why did we take Shane McElrath to Jeremy McGrath Suzuki or Kevin?
Well, because we were talking about making changes, and I'm like,
This is why people don't like you, Kevin.
Exactly.
correct. But we were talking about making changes, and like, if you made a change, the best case scenario would be to make it at the earliest point in the season that you
October
could,
1.
and then ride the hell out of it. Don't do
Yeah.
a bunch of races. Just test. This dude did it with 2 weeks before Anaheim won, and and
Yeah.
I felt like I wanted to get your perspective and go like, this guy had so much more talent than everybody else. He could make that up where the bike had its shortcomings. And you kind of spoke to that.
Yeah.
You're like, he was so confident that
Well,
he
it
probably
was
felt.
the 90s, so training didn't really come into play that much.
Yeah, that was pre-Carmichael.
I know, but the bikes were like at a deficit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's that's what is, I guess, hard to keep in perspective too, is like I mean I'm younger, and I know generationally I know kind of what I know, and it's like I really started keeping up with racing like on a professional level probably like 2011. Like that's when I actually
Paid
watched
attention.
it on TV, and it's like now I go back and I can watch before that on YouTube, and I've probably watched every race there is on YouTube,
Wow.
because it's like that I just love racing. I love watching and studying and learning, and but at the time it's like there's definitely a bigger like skill gap between some of the guys, but I mean that there's still challenges with that too. And again, like switching teams 2 weeks before the race, it's like in today's series, like nobody would do that at this level and still go race at Anaheim 1. It's like that's almost impossible, like for anybody to do that. So it's like that's where, like, when I talk about McGrath being mentally capable of doing that, is like I don't know anybody currently that would be
That's pretty
willing
awesome.
to do that,
That's a
because
statement.
it's like, dude, no shot. Like no way I'm going to be ready. It's like, even if I mean, maybe a top guy could go out and get 10th place, maybe a little better, but it's like,
no.
for
Tell me
their
this:
sake,
if
and
Jet Lawrence did this, Jet's going to compete. He's going to win races, but I don't think he can beat Cooper and Eli, who are on this steady track of riding the same bike, same whatever. And Jet has to make a team change.
Yeah.
2 weeks to go. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know that he could.
Well, there's also a safety issue that you'd have. I mean,
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
get on your limit.
going
I don't
racing,
know what the limit is anymore.
Going racing 2 weeks from now, if we had told you to change bikes, right teams right now,
Pretty sketchy, right?
it would be pretty scary to go
Well,
out.
and the crazy thing is, like, in Australia, watching the Lawrences and watching Cooper race there. It's like Cooper was on his bike, and you could tell he was on his bike. But Jet and Hunter, they were on stock bikes with suspension. And you could tell, and it was literally like the very first start. Nicoletti and I were watching together, and Nicoletti laughed after the start. He's like, that's the worst start they've had all year. But it's literally true, because when you're that dialed in, like you can do things that other people can't. And so when you have to, kind of going back to when we were talking about the bozos, like out there on the Supercross track, is like when you disrupt the system that you've built, and you work inside of that system, the system no longer works, and you have to almost reestablish it. Even though Jet Lawrence is the top guy in our sport right now, like, you could see his system is not working as well as it has, because something's off. And it's like, yes, they're on a new bike, which we've heard that maybe they were struggling with it a little bit. Paris, he wasn't super happy with it, but they've had more time. But over there in Australia, he was on a stock bike, and you could tell, because of the things that they were trying to do and weren't able to do. And so it's like, when you disrupt that system, it throws everything off a little bit.
Yeah.
That stuff fascinates me. Just the 1%. That's the difference between winning every moto to losing a few motos. You know, you put Cooper on a very comfortable, familiar motorcycle. He's going to be deadly. And you do that opposite thing to Jet. Now you've almost equalized the playing field, which is crazy to say.
And the thing is, what they did, like, that's what they did is really hard to do. And you won't really find other people that are like, hey, I'm willing to go race my competition on a stock bike. And like Jet and Hunter are young enough to where it's like, pride, who cares? Like, we've done well and we've won a lot. It's like, if I lose this one race, it doesn't matter. But it's like other people, it's like, hey, they show up, they've got their full race bikes. They're not there to get second. And Cooper was using the off-season races to work towards Anaheim. And he said it in podium interviews, like, obviously Jet's the guy right now, and we got some stuff to work on. And after Paris, he showed up in Australia, and I could tell that he had worked on a couple things, and he was trying to be closer to Jet than he was at Paris. And so it's like the Lawrence's letting go of that pride in order to, hey, if I don't win this race, it doesn't change things. You won't. There's not a lot of people that'll do that.
And speaking of pride, I'll bounce this back to Cooper and Eli. Those guys putting their pride to the side and just saying, I'll represent Team USA for the nation's last minute. What do you think about that? Like, we are such big fans of that race. We fanboy out about it, but like, you're a fan. You have to dig what they did. Like, Coop dropping down on 250 is epic.
Yeah, honestly, it's really cool. And the thing that irritates me about it is, like, there's all these rumblings about, like, no, you can't go. We want this guy. It's like, dude, yes, we almost won with a B team. And it's like, if guys want to go, they're motivated to race. Maybe they're not the best guy or the fastest guys that we have, but it's like, it's just frustrating because, Eli and Cooper are two of our best guys, but they got thrown in at the last minute to where they have to perform, and they both did. And it's like, AP, he's like, for him to go through mentally, like, yes, I want to go. Okay, you're going. Okay, maybe we don't go. Okay. And he's just kind of sitting there like,
yeah.
And then at the last second, okay, we're going. So he's
literally
kind of
the last second,
almost the worst off out of all of them, because he's like, he's prepared, then he's not prepared. Then it's like, what do we do? And the other guys are just like, well, this is what we got, and we're going to go do our best. And so, honestly, it's frustrating that it's so complicated. It's like I don't understand why there's issues with it, and it seems every year. But yeah, I was proud to support Team USA, and I thought they did awesome. I know they wanted to win, and second place was tough,
They came close to winning.
but it's like, dude,
couple little variables.
I mean,
they could have done.
Australia, they're honestly some of the best guys in the world, and they put it all together, and that's what that race takes.
I like the Plessinger attitude of, I know it was tough to say we're going, we're not going, and how close it went to not going.
He was coming off an injury, and he, like 2 rounds before Supercross ended, we were like, oh man, or outdoor, excuse me. He was working through some stuff.
Yeah.
So
But he always has the attitude of, I'll
Whatever
go,
it
I
takes.
want to go. And I want to see America have a run of people who want to go. And we've run
I want to
before with
see.
a B
I want to see a
team.
run of people that want to go when it's not easy, when it's overseas. Because this
Yep.
year's going to be
Indiana,
easy.
gotta have a bunch of people lined
I get
up.
it. Yeah, and I'm not saying don't not bring our guys, but like in the back of my mind, I want to go like, hey man, you didn't go for whatever reason. Now everybody wants to go because it's right in your backyard. But
Correct.
I don't know. It's easier to go when it's in your hometown.
We
so.
just love that race. And we love the American flags. And heck, Nick, I mean, we watched the leprechauns jump out on the track and do flips with smoke bombs, and it's like there's more energy at that race almost than an entire season.
There's a handful of rounds that get close to that.
Yeah,
for
there's
sure.
not many
But
rounds.
it was
that
awesome.
get
And
that
I tell you this too, with AP, his attitude and his energy going to that race
It's infectious.
translated to all the other countries. He got more applause than any rider there.
Shane, like he's going around the track, you didn't even have to wonder where he was.
Yeah, and like when they
That's
did their
awesome.
little
In
parade,
England,
like
they're
he
cheering
got
like crazy.
every other country cheered for AP like he was their own. It was wild.
And that's where it's like, it kind of going back to the pride thing. Like AP wants to go and represent our country.
Yep.
And yes, he wants to do well, but it's like, oh man, I'm not going to go for the sake of what if I don't do well?
Right.
What if something happens? It's like
I don't give it-
AP wants to
matter.
go because he loves America.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, dude, send AP, send 2 other guys that want to do the same thing. And it's like, let it be.
Sounds like
And
you
then
get it.
when they're over there, they're having the time of their lives, and they race to that. And then all of a sudden, oh dang, Team America, where did they come from? We weren't even thinking that they were going to be that good, but it's like, no, the guys
I think
just
people
wanted
were
to be there.
guessing 5th place.
And
for
that
them.
race is full of badasses too. Like you watch some of those guys.
Oh, you got Prada just waxing
I
everybody.
mean,
in the
there are
qualifiers.
stories. If you go back in history and study the 1992 team, that was a
B
true B team, and they started that streak of
Lyles,
13
LaRocco, Emig,
and Gary Bailey. Yep.
Gary Bailey as team manager.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm like, what are you saying?
No, he's 100 years old. No, I'm just saying like that.
I think that was the team though, right?
It was.
Lyles, LaRocco, Emig.
Emig, yes.
And that was in Australia. Manjimump. I think so.
You're a freak, but yes.
Sorry.
I
Sorry
go
about
back
it.
I go back to that year because like nobody wanted to go.
Nobody thought they would
And it
win.
started another like 13 years straight of winning, and I'm not pointing a finger at anybody because I know everybody has different circumstances. Like Pierce Brown goes, "Hey, if I was going this year, I was transitioning from KTM to Star. That would have been very difficult." So I get it. There are different stories and circumstances for everybody.
Chase
so.
maybe had a similar
I don't know. Yeah,
situation
I don't know.
transferring from Honda to KTM that time, and
Well, Chase got hurt this year.
but remember last year,
Yeah,
like
year
that was
before,
his
yeah.
thing.
Right.
And he said, "Man, I want to go."
And I want Deegan to go. I want him to go. I want him to get all the fanfare and do what he does over there. And I want Vince Freezy to go over there, not to race, but just to cause havoc
yes,
in the pits and
in the parking lot.
just put
crashing
Freezy in the
cars.
parking lot
Oh,
when it's
my
time to leave.
Freezy fucked up 72 cars in the parking lot.
there's half the
He got
teams that
fined
make it in.
70
And
two
nobody
fines.
screwed his car didn't get a scratch.
How's that work, man? I don't understand.
He
He
ruined tea time.
had a
in
left-hand
England.
driving car too. Like, where did he get that in
Tea
Europe?
time.
He
Shane.
ruined tea time in England.
They shut the world down, and we had tea and crumpets.
at a
4
motocross
o'clock or
race.
whatever.
That's no lie. Like we were over there, we thought we just had lunch, and everything shuts down. And everybody gets in line at the. We're like, what the hell's going on? What are they doing? It was tea. We had to have
Tea and crumpets.
We had
It's
to
time.
have tea and crumpets.
It's time. You can't race
Oh
that third
my
moto
God.
without tea.
And
and
it was
crumpets.
pretty obvious we were American. Like you could spot us.
They got any sweet tea?
Yes.
Yeah.
I ain't got no Milos
These
over here.
goddamn crumpets are disastrous. I hate them.
We were, we outweighed everybody by
This
60
ain't
pounds.
communion.
We
Daggum,
were
man.
60 pounds
yeah.
heavier than everybody and had on jeans and boots, and we were pretty.
Rednecking.
It was pretty
Red
obvious.
second. Well, Shane, I think it's a good
Yeah.
spot to shut her down. We've talked about communion. We've talked about sweet tea, Vince
Yep.
Freeze, Australia.
Our life is pretty
Yep.
complete.
I'm sure there's something we'd said that we could get in trouble for at some point.
There's
For
a
sure.
million things. I mean, we could keep you on the line forever. I think you're one of the more honorable dudes in the sport, and I think
Thank you.
I think a lot of people.
You got
Time-
the best. You got the best hair in the sport.
Time passes.
That's
Don't-
right.
Listen, you're going to start a fight now.
No, we gave Plessinger the belt
I
buckle.
know.
dude.
We
did.
all right, now
Hey,
we got
every time somebody comes to the autograph line with a mullet, I tell them the only reason I have a mustache is because I can't have a mullet.
Dude.
That's how
Remember
it is.
that.
Yes, it's my
Yeah.
front mullet.
Well, now you have to listen.
Yep.
You got to go look on AP's Instagram because Kevin just started a fight. Because now we're going to have to seriously
I'm
evaluate.
teasing.
We got to evaluate your hair now because we gave AP.
He's got a shaved head.
I know,
teasing.
but
I
listen to the
understand.
story.
We gave AP a best hair.
It said Georgia Hair Hall of Fame.
Yes.
It was a belt buckle said Georgia Hair Hall of Fame 2023. And he
Yeah.
was so proud
I mean,
to
well,
get
I don't-
that.
So if you
I don't
work
have
on
hair,
that mustache,
so I
know
can't run.
but
Well, they have mustache buckles. I mean,
Yeah,
you're sitting here
so-
writing it off like you're just out of the
we
running.
can get you a.
Okay.
I mean, it's possible, dude.
South Georgia Mustache Regional Championship.
See?
You get
Yeah.
the right oils and wax. We can get you a mustache.
Yeah, they have
buckle.
beard oil. Like
Yeah,
you could
mustache
become a
oil.
champion that you've never even thought
Mustache
about
wax.
becoming.
Yeah.
Let's make that
Okay.
happen.
All right. Now, thanks, Nick. I'll get
No.
on Molly's Custom Silver now and order him one.
Well, Shane, thank
Georgia
you.
Mustache Hall of Fame.
Thank you for your time, buddy. Good luck and stay healthy.
Hey,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
good luck. It was just a minute ago when you were handing Sexton everything he had in that
That's right.
250
Yeah.
championship.
We're-
So
We got your number, so we'll probably call you like 20 minutes before A1 starts.
just check in.
Yeah.
Hey, Shane, good
Second.
luck. If you need anything, let me know. If you need some gas, I
Yeah.
put 12 pounds of air in your front tire.
Hey, man, don't forget to put them air them
All
tires.
right.
You put plenty of PSIs in your tires.
All right, buddy. Take
Yeah,
care, buddy.
thanks for the time, Shane.
All right. Thank you guys.
See you, Shane.
No problem.
I love
See
you.
ya. Bye.
Hey, you can feel that the dude's a good dude.
He's a good
Yeah,
dude.
he is a good
100%.
And I think it just is how motocross is that people just forget that last week he could hand Sexton his lunch
Yeah.
on a weekly basis. It's like,
He's handed a bunch of dudes. I use him as an example too about how Loretta's can change the trajectory of your career. Never said that dude's name before.
You've never
that
heard
I,
of Shane
that I really
McElrath?
remember until he showed up there. He'd spent a lot of time. I want to say Club MX, and then goes to Loretta's and like is on the box, leads, seconds, thirds. I'm like, what the crap? In the B class, he doesn't leave the ranch, and he's already got a TLD ride.
yeah.
Shows up, does his deal the next year, off he goes.
But he's
Loretta's.
also one of those guys. I mean, he's a pretty consistent guy, but he also has that sometimes when you watch a race and you're like, holy shit, he's fast.
It's been a minute. It's
Well,
been a
I
minute.
mean,
You know,
it has
oh,
been
yeah.
a minute, but like you said,
But
a
it's all
couple
there.
years
They
ago,
always say they can work with speed, right?
yeah. I mean, like you were saying, the COVID races and stuff. I remember just watching him going,
That's not that long. It's 4 years ago.
yeah. I mean, he's flying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, and I think he's one of those guys that I would imagine you're not that good without being slightly opinionated, but he just seems like a super nice dude that
He
you
is
would
every-
like to have on
Everything
your team.
you think of, he's that guy.
Yeah, he's solid. Like he won't forget if he tells you he'll do something. You don't even have to think about it. He's going to do it, and I think that carries some value.
yeah.
He also can win during those
That's
years.
why
He
I
could
think-
win every
I think
time.
these
but
overseas races were super critical. Like, I mean, he'll bounce around top tens, whatever, but then he probably made as much money in the off season.
well, I wanted to ask him, like, hey
I
man,
should've-
did you just figure out your post-retirement gig? Because you
Keep
might could
doing
do
this
2 years
as
of
but
that.
long as you can.
Yeah.
He may come in super fast because
Racing.
He's
yeah. been racing and winning.
been racing.
Gate
right?
drops, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like these guys, like we were talking about when the season ends at Labor Day or whatever, you don't need to go back to base training and then try to ramp your training up. I mean, cardiovascular wise, you know what I mean? Like your base is there. Like you've got that base.
Yeah,
the
you
rest
just
of your life.
take PEDs and blood dope the whole way, and you'll be right out
That's
front.
right. You'll be right on. But
no, I
for
know what
real
you're
though,
saying.
like,
I know what you're saying.
when a guy gets to that level, he could do 2 interval workouts a week and never lose
And
a bit of
maintain it,
fitness.
right.
Like maybe even pick up because his training load would
Well,
drop.
he
some.
immediately said, "You ever heard of anybody that overtrains or
He was
one
kidding.
of y'all?" Yeah, obviously, because they all kind of do,
They do,
right?
right.
He basically was saying, "This is the best I've felt in forever," and
I
he wasn't
barely
training
rode,
at all. He just
and he went
raced.
back old school privateer in a van style, just ride once or twice during the week, maybe, and just
Yeah.
show up and do a lot of racing on the weekend. And I wanted to go back and talk to him about like that load he's talking about is probably similar to a regional.
Yeah,
Like a regional, if you're riding two bikes, 4 classes, 12 motos. My
pretty-
brother Kyle
yeah.
did that in one day.
I did
that
it
sounds
good
like a
back-
Nick Blackman.
I rode 3 classes.
We were talking about changing bikes, blah blah blah, and I was going to bring it up. Like, well, this dude bought a bike the night before his regional.
Yeah, that's how you do
night,
it.
didn't even get to adjust the air pressure.
It's just I got to ride it. I put some gas in it. What
are you doing?
That's my nose itching.
Got PSI. I put PSIs in.
I put PSIs. Yeah, I just like people like Shane McElrath.
He's genuine, dude. He's a
mean-
great guy. He's always been that way too.
Really.
Yeah, not putting on anything.
Yeah. Yeah, he's as real as they get,
man.
right?
I'd love to see some big results out of him, though. I mean, this year it'd be
Well,
awesome.
he's got it in him. It's just the tip of that spear is so pointy.
Well, I mean,
There
and
ain't room for a lot
Well,
of dudes.
think about the levels of bike. When Cooper can see a slight decline in Jet's bike,
Yeah.
and then when you
Just
go
'cause
to
he's
the
on a
next
production bike
you
that
go
week.
3 or 4 steps down. I don't know where his level of bike and what they've got invested in that bike. I mean, you can win or lose. I mean, you can pick up
I
a
think
couple of
once you're
spots.
to that point, yeah, the bike is a big factor, right? I mean,
Sure.
they need every detail.
the bike and confidence, right? So
the
that's what I
top.
was gonna
What do
say.
you think? What do you think? The top 4 guys, top 5 guys need that level. But do you think 8th, let's say 9th through
No,
14th, they
I think
could be
at
on
that point it's on heart. It's like how
and,
much
and,
you can.
and how good
And
you are.
confidence. Like for real, they're part of the thing in Australia with Cooper was probably like it wasn't as much that Jet or Hunter didn't have as much confidence. It was just what if Cooper just knows they're on a stock bike?
Yeah.
So his
And that
confidence
bumped him a
I
notch.
don't know.
that bumps him up some.
I think comfortability and just being safe on a motorcycle. I think you could put them on any 5 of those, 6 of those bikes. Make the changes you need to make, and those guys are all going to finish about where they should
Cooper's
finish.
also a game day dude. He can rise to the occasional game
I'm
day.
saying to win, to get the extra 3 or 4%, you have to have the most elite of elite.
With the
obviously.
nations, and Cooper was like kind of in the back of the trailer, and I just stuck my head around there and I was like, "Hey, what's up, Coop, man? Good luck."
He was sitting on your lap.
Yeah, he looked at me like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yes, man, this guy's got big
said
Nick
that?
energy.
Huh?
You said that. Good luck.
Yeah,
What did he say?
he just looked at me like I was a dumbass.
He's like, I hate you.
Fuck you doing in here, dude? Big John. He goes, how does this guy get in here?
What are you
Yeah, they're
doing
very
here?
concerned.
Shouldn't you be driving a tank?
Why
dude?
is that guy with no pants telling me
This
good
is
luck?
weird? And he's
I
what?
do think you should have worn pants when you're going to wish people you don't know
Yes.
good luck.
When you're holding your wiener.
Listen,
Good luck. Like,
You
what?
pointing it at
Good luck
people.
at what?
Look at this, man. Check it
hey,
out.
Good luck at
I
what?
said we just want to wish you good luck.
Why are you holding?
Me and my boy
So
here.
weird, man.
me and my boy want to wish
wiener.
you. Me and little Elvis down here want to wish you good luck.
Dude, I just think like Shane. So he's got this job and he's a motorcycle racer, and it has afforded him to really like travel the
I mean,
world.
you got
When
a
did we spend
month or
a month
something-
and a half in Australia?
Yeah, I mean, how
and
cool
got
would that
paid
be?
to do it? Like, even if he isn't where he might have thought he would be based on that Sexton Championship year, it's like he's still got it pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, like most people are like, "Oh God, it's Monday," you know. But on Monday, he was probably hanging
at the
out,
test track.
deciding like, "Well, we'll probably go to the airport like Wednesday, and we'll head over to Perth, and we'll race over
Do some
there."
gladiator stuff.
That
apparently.
Perth doesn't it sound like there should be a
It
battle
sounds
there?
old school. It
Yeah,
does
like-
sound like everything's made of stone.
I will fight you in Perth.
I was at the fortress at Perth,
That's where I became a stonemason in Perth.
and that's where they revealed.
the stonemason.
Let's talk about that again.
The Perth.
Where are we at on this
stonemasons.
garage build? We're
Same.
framed. We got a roof.
Yeah, we got a roof. We got
Slab,
doors,
obviously.
We got some lights.
You got doors.
Electrical's roughed in.
Did you use rock from Perth?
Yes.
Did someone reveal the
Perth,
stonemason?
Yes. So the stonemason will just appear. I don't know who it's going to be. I'm really excited to see.
But they've
Oh,
already got the curtains up and stuff.
Behold the stonemason. There's
I
a
want to see a
stage.
guy
There's
dressed
lights.
like a
When he comes to lay the brick, he goes, "I am the stone mason."
And
Yes.
sort of the clouds cover the sun for a few minutes.
Yeah.
That way the lights have more effect.
He's dressed like Mel Gibson.
There's a
and-
joke
and-
behind this, but like all the subs are, you're a plumber, you're an electrician,
Man, I'm a
you're,
framer.
you're a roofer, a
Yeah.
carpenter, and
I'm
then
a
this guy,
concrete
of all
man.
the guys, he goes, "Behold, the stone mason has appeared."
Wow, with a guitar riff.
Yes.
I don't understand the stone
The
mason.
guitar riff is a concrete mixer for
Every
his
time
mortar,
somebody says
but-
stonemason, there's a guitar riff behind it.
Behold.
The stone mason.
Yeah, the scroll
Trumpets.
comes out.
That's what I feel like Perth. That's what Perth is.
Well, that's where the first stonemason.
Keeper of the stone mason.
And you know, it's not just stonemason; it's the stonemason.
yes,
it's
they
the stone
deploy
ma-
whoever
I mean,
is assigned for your job.
Sydney, Australia sounds so feminine next to Perth. Yeah.
Perth.
Maybe
Perth
because
is
it
where
rhymes
boners
with-
were invented.
Because it rhymes with girth.
Perth and yes,
You just said that's where boners were invented.
It
he
is.
goes that it rhymes with girth.
yeah,
Your
dude,
timing
that's
was
100%. That's
totally
how
in
it goes.
sync.
That's Big Nick energy right there.
Yeah.
When Big
All
Nick
right, we
energy is
can't top
infected,
any of that shit. That's
it's infectious.
Where are you from, Girth?
Yeah, I'm from Perth.
one more for the road.
I'm from Girth.
Kevin. Yeah, Kevin needs a couple more ounces
No,
of.
No, that's
Okay,
it.
so
That's good, actually.
I did watch. Here you go. Get
ahead.
to your little John.
You
Come on,
got a
John.
what?
Come on, little John.
Get a little-
What?
Okay.
So
What?
I did watch a little bit of the Indian Supercross Championship.
Did you see some of
Who was racing over there? Like this thing
I don't
had
know, but
one
I
rider.
really think
like
we could.
Justin Bogle?
Yeah, I think it was Bogle. I have Bogle in
Just
my
some
head.
random guys show
I
up.
think we could get you on the podium there, John.
They race scooters. They race all kind of shit.
All right, I'm down with that. I'll go.
I mean, we just got to get John set up to
Cheers.
podium. You make a,
Indian
you make a
Supercross
serious
champ.
run of the Indian.
I'll bet you
Super-
their damn trophy is like a basket with a cobra in it.
You get a live cobra.
Yeah, that's your
Hell
trophy.
yeah.
They just throw it at you. Yeah.
Isn't that the music? Like,
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
and Ricky Tikki Tavi might be there.
Yeah.
Remember Ricky Tikki
Oh, hell
Tavi?
yeah, it was my favorite part of the first grade.
That dude would handle some. Was he a mongoose?
Yep.
Was that who that was?
Ricky
Yeah.
Tikki Tavi, dude. He's the Indian Supercross
That was
champ.
literally the only thing I remember from first grade.
Was he a snake
That my
handler?
teacher was
He
kind
would
of hot.
beat up those cobras.
Yeah.
That
I just
your
remember
teacher.
making everybody hold a damn 30-foot damn anaconda. I'm like, I don't want nothing to do with
I
that.
had Miss Williams for
They
first
do that
grade.
anymore? Do they let anacondas
Hey,
in schools
we had
anymore?
one in 10th grade, and that thing was
I know
in
that
the
was
school.
That was in the 90s, but right now, like, does your wife know of anacondas that
Well,
come
they
in?
just brought him into school,
They
like
used-
show and tell.
Yeah, no, you remember they used to bring the snake guy.
we had
Yeah.
one in the class that stayed
Right.
there all the time, and they could
That
get
shit
it
don't
out.
happen now.
So I would stand out in the hall because I'm like, I ain't going in
They
there.
used to bring everything into school. They bring like the snakes, and then we had a lady that had no hands because she burned them off on a stove.
She was a lobster girl.
No, and it
Why
was
would they
like,
bring her in? Look
Man,
here,
I
you-
burnt my hands off on the stove.
tell you
oh,
not-
come to the school.
to tell you not to take acid, right? So they bring her in.
Dude, that's a
because-
stretch right there.
Well, she said that it was a gas stove, and she saw the blue flame.
Bro, that's all I
It was
need to
like-
see.
Beautiful.
It was beautiful flowers, and so she was just sitting there picking flowers
Because she was tripping on acid.
and burned
Wow.
her freaking
All right,
hands
so
off.
she should have gone to the school.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm good with that.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
Hey, that almost kept me off acid.
It did. It was close. He was like, man, I don't think I should do this. But I don't have a gas stove. So what's up? Where's
Yeah.
my acid? Where's
I
my
came out-
handler?
next day I came out. Look at this, bitches.
Check it out. I got my hands, y'all, because my stove's electric, bitches.
You can't burn them off in a microwave.
Yeah, you can't even shut the door.
That's right.
Like, I tried to shut the door and put my hands in there, and it's just
All
like,
right, we're
you
done.
can't.
Shane McElrath, thank you. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, John. Big Nick Energy.
Yep.
Drink the rest of that.
Love y'all.
Okay, here goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Love you, Jason Azell.